All right. It's another Saturday night. Therefore, another Saturday night shoot the breeze. You know what it is. I come on at the top of the show to give you guys a preview of what we will be discussing tonight. So tonight we're going to be discussing Umar Johnson. I'm sure you guys have seen the now viral video from Umar blaming men, black men, for the decisions of black women. Uh, Spoiler, I call bullshit on that. I put a poll up about that too, so you guys respond to the poll. We're going to be talking about how is Africa going to win the Cocoa War. We're going to talk about the governor of Florida and something he didn't see coming, I guess. I think it's in regards to Florida immigration law. We're going to talk about DC Youngfly and his, I believe she was his wife, definitely was the mother of his children, who died a few weeks ago, apparently having a mommy and me surgery. We're going to talk about that for a bit. We're going to talk about how wonderful it would be if our people all over the world would study their history, particularly in music, and play certain songs on the radio and in the clubs. I'm going to talk about Alex Haley. Is it time to cancel Alex Haley? You might remember Alex Haley was the person who came up with the Roots miniseries. He also did the autobiography of Malcolm X. You might remember Dick Gregory had a lot to say about Alex Haley at one time too. So we will be discussing those topics tonight. I see Daily Affirmations by Pauline is out there. Hold on. I see Daily Affirmation by Pauline is out there saying good evening. Pro-Black Perspective, that's Oni Tase. He's out there saying peace, peace. So I hope you guys are going to tune in tonight. Bring a friend. All right, share this on your social media. Let people know what we're doing here on a Saturday night. Again, we've cut the show down to 3 hours. If you look at the numbers on the videos, you'll see the numbers have drastically fallen off, and we know why. But what we'll do now is I'll officially start the show. In the meantime, you guys retweet the tweets, share the links, do all the things, invite a friend. And on the other side of this intro, we will discuss Shoot the Breeze topic number 1 tonight. So stay tuned.
You are listening to the Bitter Medicine Podcast on KWAZ Radio. Welcome to the Bitter Medicine Podcast, where it's all about Black empowerment. Our show focuses on Black news and entertainment, arts, science, economics, history, people, and strategies that uplift, empower, and motivate Africans within the diaspora. And now, your host, whose favorite color is black, Goku.
Welcome back to the Bitter Medicine Podcast. I am your host, Koku. Just want to remind you guys before we get the show rolling that this show is part of a podcast network called KWAZ Radio. There are other shows on the network you are invited to tune into.
Hello there, dear listener. We hope you're enjoying this lovely discussion. If you're not already aware, this show is part of a podcast network called KWAZ Radio, a Pan-African nationalist and Garveyite network committed to showcasing the rich and varied thoughts of African people. We have an exciting lineup of shows that we think you'll enjoy, including
the Bitter Medicine Podcast.
I think black people require too much buy-in. Like, we constantly have to sell black people on things that are beneficial to black people.
The Pro-Black Perspective Podcast.
I'm fearful that our people are not really studying how to get ahead, and we're kind of, continually staying behind.
The Harsh Reality Podcast.
To me, it don't matter. I think people are so dumbed down, it wouldn't matter what you reveal to them. They still are in the matrix. They're in the simulation. They're going to keep doing what they did. They lemmings. So to me, it don't matter, man.
The Learning Curve Podcast.
Sexual access has never given you economic empowerment. The only person who has ever been economically empowered by a sexual relationship is the wasp and his woman.
The Cassidra Cheek Show.
When we start rising up to fight for our own, I guarantee you they'll stop doing what they're doing. I guarantee you they would have let their brother go. They was waiting to see what black folks was going to do.
Brother Bakari Podcast.
Black people love to claim folks that hate them, right? They're a slave master, and they are ashamed of who they really are.
The 4Kast Radio.
Like, if you pray to the same deity as, like, your enemy, and that God blesses your enemy more than you may want to reconsider who you praying to,
And Tanzan, African Mind.
Africans generally are welcoming of everyone. Sometimes, to my consternation, I think that they should be less, welcoming.
If you love our podcast network, we would be grateful if you could rate and review us on Apple Podcasts. Follow us on social media, like and subscribe to our YouTube channel, and check out our website at www.kwazradio.com for more information. Thank you for tuning in. And now, back to the program.
Yes, indeed. Welcome back to the Bitter Medicine Podcast. This segment is the Shoot the Breeze segment of the Bitter Medicine Podcast every Saturday night, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I see Joe Nell is in the chat saying good evening. I see Oye is in the chat as well. I think this might be the first time I've seen you here. Thanks for coming through. They say thank you for the platform. Good afternoon. So thank you for being here. Anyone who would like to join the panel tonight, the link is pinned, as always, to the top of the chat, along with the other links for the website, for the Discord. You can join the Discord today. If there's topics you'd like to discuss, join the Discord, and you'll be able to post your topics on the Shoot the Breeze channel. Without further ado, let me welcome in my first panelist tonight, only panelist tonight. Oni, how are you this week?
I'm cool. How are you, man? Everything, my new setup is kind of weird. Every time my mic gets plugged out, it kicks me off, but I'm trying to make sure it doesn't get plugged out. But yeah, everything's cool, man. How's everything with you, man?
Everything's good. Yeah, your mic sounds great, though. Sounds great, so you're good. Let's welcome in Buana this week. Buana, how are you?
I'm good, brother. 1 2 1 2. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. We got you loud and clear.
Okay.
Thanks for coming through. I see Brother Bakari out there in the chat saying peace and black power, peace and black powder. Brother Bakari, make sure you guys check out Brother Bakari's show and all the other shows. The Pro-Black Perspective, of course, that's Oni, who's up here with us tonight. Check out Cassidra Cheek, The4Kast, all of them. Check out everyone. Without further ado, let me drop Shoot the Breeze topic number 1 tonight. Shoot the Breeze topic number 1 tonight is, why are we mad at Uma? Uma, he can get vitriol for several reasons, but there's a particular one So that takes us to this tweet. Let me make sure everyone can see the screen. Yes, indeed. So that takes us to this tweet. You might not be able to see the top part of it well, but it's from One of One. It says, Dr. Umar talks about how the lack of fathers and community men for decades not only masculinized black women, but affects black boys, which continues the cycle. So this is a part 1 of 2. You guys see my post up there, my poll, I should say, up there, pinned to the top of the chat. I'd like you guys to respond to that as well. But let's watch this video. And I guess there's a second video. So we'll watch them each twice, and then we'll discuss it.
Because we try to act like the way sisters treat us doesn't have a history that we are not at least partly responsible for. Let's be honest. The black woman has had to hold down the black house by herself, although imperfectly. She's had to do it by herself since the mass incarceration of black males began in the 1970s. So when a sister says, I don't need a man, because she couldn't find one strong enough to hold her down, or when you meet a woman and you say, sister, I'm strong enough to be a man. You ain't got to work, or you ain't got to pay the bills or whatever. Pull back. I got you. And she can't do it because all the other men before you who disappointed her. So what I'm saying is, black men, we got to be patient with our women because we created that personality.
We have to be held accountable for their poor selection.
No, you have to be held accountable because they have a poor selection. It does have value, but we're going to put that up against the other statistic. 2/3 of our kids are being raised by the women. 2/3 of our kids are being raised by the women. And like I said, when I say being raised, I'm not saying it needs to be a father. I would like a father in that house, but I know it's not enough of us to go around. We are not even being accountable to the boys in the hood. And we're complaining about the women. I argue with women who are making babies with the irresponsible men that we didn't raise correctly. That's bullshit.
All right.
That's wimp-ass, weak man shit. Take responsibility for our shit. Stop scapegoating them.
Yeah, I could agree. I could agree to that.
All I'm saying is look at all we can be doing better, man. Half the black boys in the 4th grade can't read. What black men doing about that systemically?
All right, one more time, I'll play it.
Because we try to act like the way sisters treat us doesn't have a history that we are not at least partly responsible for. Let's be honest. The black woman has had to hold down the black house by herself, although imperfectly. She's had to do it by herself since the mass incarceration of black males began in the 1970s. So when a sister says, I don't need a man, because she couldn't find one strong enough to hold her down, or when you meet a woman and you say, sister, I'm strong enough to be a man. You ain't got to work, or you ain't got to pay the bills or whatever. Pull back. I got you. And she can't do it because all the other men before you who disappointed her. So what I'm saying is, black men, we got to be patient with our women because we created that personality.
We have to be held accountable for their poor selection.
No, you have to be held accountable because they have a poor selection. It does have value, but we're going to put that up against the other statistic. 2/3 of our kids are being raised by the women. 2/3 of our kids are being raised by the women. And like I said, when I say being raised, I'm not saying it needs to be a father. I would like a father in that house, but I know it's not enough of us to go around. We are not even being accountable to the boys in the hood. And we're complaining about the women. I argue with women who are making babies with the irresponsible men that we didn't raise correctly. That's bullshit.
All right.
That's wimp-ass, weak man shit. Take responsibility for our shit. Stop scapegoating them.
Yeah, I could agree. I could agree to that.
All I'm saying is look at all we can be doing better, man. Half the black boys in the 4th grade can't read. What black men doing about that systemically? And what I'm saying is they don't have much to select one, so of course she's going to end up with a poor mate. And why is she going to end up with a poor mate? Because we as black men are not raising black boys to be the men that our women need. We are not. They out there killing themselves right now. What we doing about it? Unemployed black males, what we doing about it? Pants sagging, weed smoking, what we doing about it? Black men are not raising black boys to be the men our community needs. That is 100% our fault. What I'm saying is she got a right to be angry with us. If the men are the providers, what have we been providing for our community? I'm not speaking you individually.
Yes.
Because you may be a damn good father. You may be a damn good father. You may be a damn good father. But guess what? What are we doing for the community? What are we doing for the children who don't have a father? You don't think the black woman got a right to be angry when she's been raising 2/3 of the kids by herself for 50 years? And the minute she raised her voice, we say she's not humble enough? She had to become masculine to survive the rape, the molestation, the domestic abuse. Are you telling me you can't see how we created that?
I understand that, but she needs
if
to
we
be
was
more
loving
selective.
our women and taking care of our women, do you think she would be like that? That personality has a history.
If she's picking Pookie and Ray Ray instead of
you're making her a scapegoat.
No, she's picking a scapegoat.
No.
There's good quality men that they ignore.
Why she even got it? Why is there even a Pookie in the selection?
You gotta ask her that.
No. I'm gonna tell you why there's a Pookie in the selection.
What?
Because black men have abandoned black boys and have allowed social media, white media, athletes, and rappers to raise them. That's why she with Pookie. If we never allowed Pookie to develop, she would not have a Pookie. If we're going to be men, the first thing we got to do is take responsibility for why our women feel the way they feel. I can hear others talk like this discourse we having now.
Yeah.
We act like we don't understand.
No,
there's reasons for that shit.
I do.
See, what you're saying, you're selecting a poor mate. And what I'm saying is they don't have much to select one, so of course she's going to end up with a poor mate. And why is she going to end up with a poor mate? Because we as black men are not raising black boys to be the men that our women need. We are not. They out there killing themselves right now. What we doing about it? Unemployed black males, what we doing about it? Pants sagging, weed smoking, what we doing about it? Black men are not raising black boys to be the men our community needs. That is 100% our fault. What I'm saying is she got a right to be angry with us. If the men are the providers, what have we been providing for our community? I'm not speaking you individually.
Yes.
Because you may be a damn good father. You may be a damn good father. You may be a damn good father, but guess what? What are we doing for the community? What are we doing for the children who don't have a father? You don't think the black woman got a right to be angry when she's been raising 2/3 of the kids by herself for 50 years? And the minute she raised her voice, we say she's not humble enough? She had to become masculine to survive the rape, the molestation, the domestic abuse. Are you telling me you can't see how we created that?
I understand that, but she needs to be
If we was loving our women and taking care of our women, do you think she would be like that? That personality has a history.
If she's picking Pookie and Ray Ray instead of
you're making her a scapegoat.
No, she's picking a scapegoat.
No.
There's good quality men that they ignore.
Why she even got it? Why is there even a Pookie in the selection?
You gotta ask her that.
No. I'm gonna tell you why there's a Pookie in the selection.
What?
Because black men have abandoned black boys and have allowed social media, white media, athletes, and rappers to raise them. That's why she with Pookie. If we never allowed Pookie to develop, she would not have a Pookie. If we're going to be men, the first thing we got to do is take responsibility for why our women feel the way they feel. I can hear others talk like this discourse we having now.
Yeah.
We act like we don't understand.
No,
there's reasons for that shit.
I do.
Oh boy. So I like what Trigger Happy 262 Plus says. He says, when I listened to it, I think Dr. Umar was right in a lot of areas, but he just wasn't complete in his analysis is all. Hence, it should be understood that it's more of a systemic analysis. Bakari says he agrees with Umar. I personally fall in between. I see what Umar is doing. Umar is pandering. And ain't no one gonna tell me different. Umar is doing that pandering bullshit that I completely and thoroughly dislike. How am I the fault? Now he's gonna say, well, it's not individually this, that, and the other, but how am I? How is Oni? How is one? How are we the fault of a woman or women currently today choosing the dregs of society to procreate with? What are you talking about? What are you talking about? And where does this come from that I have to be accountable for a person with agency? I like to use that term when I talk about these women, right? We act like these women don't have agency to see what's going on. It's like, I'm going to throw it to the panel in a second, but here's how I look at it. It's like we're on a boat. A bunch of people is on a boat, right? A bunch of people is on a boat. The boat has started taking on water now. It's sinking. The men on the boat decide to bail off the water, find, we find the source of the leak. We're trying to patch it. And when we look up, there's a woman up at the top of the bow there pumping water into the ship. What are we talking about? How can we fix a thing and then have to fight against someone doing the exact damage that we're trying to fix? It doesn't make sense. Now, things that he's right about is that men need to be better. We do have to take control of our situation, but what's not being discussed, as Trigger Happy alluded to, this situation that's out here right now, particularly in America, but in the West in general, it's a bad situation in these communities, man. This is akin to an insurrection in our communities. And you know how you put down insurrections? Go ask the United States what's their plan to put down insurrections. You have to have military might to deal with this shit out here. You know who figured this out back in the day? The aging civil rights leaders in the early 90s. They recognized something. They recognized that the problem, and of course the white man is who creates the problem ultimately, right? But they recognize this problem is out of hand. We can't do nothing about it. So you know what they did? They ran to Bill Clinton and the Democrats and said, yo, can you help us with this shit? And that's where those 3 strikes laws came in. This thing out here now is out of hand. And don't tell me that these women don't have the sense to see that this ship is sinking. Why would you still go and lay up with these low-grade men and make these children? And then turn to the conscious of us to say, go and fix it. It makes no sense. And I don't appreciate guys like Umar and them, because Umar's sitting up here acting like he's out there in the streets. Umar's not in the streets. Umar's an academic building a school. That's great. Umar is nowhere near where these folks are, where these problematic folks are. He's not out there. And lastly, and I saved it for last because I don't want people to say, well, I'm trying to attack the man. But who's Umar to talk? Doesn't he have children being raised by their mothers? What is he talking about? What is he talking about? We all have a responsibility, right? But to sit up here and act like, well, the women could just wash their hands of any responsibility is nonsense. I said my part. Let me throw it to Buana. Buana would say.
Coco, you did an excellent job. You did an excellent job in giving your analysis, and you went through all the little tropes that we usually go through in talking about these things. You talk about agency, which women should supposed to have in and of themselves. You know, it's like, why do I need to give you an opinion? You know, don't you have some thoughts of your own? So it's like you infantilize the woman to suggest that they only could think, they only could act based off of our actions, based off of our thoughts, based off of our ideas. Don't you have some thoughts of your own as an adult person? And if you do have thoughts of your own, where's the responsibility for the things that you actively do? These one-sided conversations, I know where you're coming from. You know, Dr. Johnson is just marketing, and he's appealing to his base, which is a bunch of black women. So you tell black women things that make them feel good, and which not necessarily 100% truthful. Just as long as they make them feel good, they'll go hit the Cash App. They'll reach down deep into their wallet and pocketbooks and pay him. It's that old, the black woman is God trope, you know, them dudes from 125th Street was talking about. And then God ended up putting you in court for child support. Get out of here.
Court for molesting a kid.
Yeah, now God gonna put you in court for molestation, and you have to call police. But I personally think that we as a community should take responsibility for our personal actions. That's very important, you know. And it's enough of this name blaming thing. Everybody pointing the finger at everyone else. but what are you doing directly? You know, these people big on these African scenes, but if every person, what's the thing, Oni? If every person sweeps their own doorstep, the neighborhood will become eventually clean. You know, you have to look inside and find out what exactly are you doing. And I find it very funny that me personally, I never heard from Dr. Umar's baby mamas. You know what I mean? I don't see him with his daughters hanging around him at all. You know, but he yet still he have all this opinion about what black men are doing wrong. Is there anything that we actually get right? That's the question I have. Because you get up on this platform, we are miserable human beings. Just can't get nothing ever right. Is there anything that we are actually getting right? I never had that part of the argument or part of the conversation. Only is a single dad, and he been a single dad for a minute. You know what I mean? What about people like them who exist in these spaces? And it's not to say that we trying to look for compliment, fishing for compliment, and fishing for somebody to pat us on our head. But there are many responsible black men out here. I am not supposed to be held accountable for some woman who I don't know, who is engaged in actions that I consider to be ridiculous. Now all of a sudden I'm responsible for her and her children, and what happens to them? Come on, man. Come on, man. My brother Azuli used to use this term. He used to call it state property. There are some women out here who are state property. They are property of the state, created and fashioned and formed after the state. You know what I mean? And when they turn out the way the state wants them to turn out, I am supposed to be held accountable for their actions. I don't create laws in the society. I don't create systems. I don't create institutions in the society. Yet still, I am supposed to be held responsible for the output or the result of what society has created. And if you was to try to check and try to tell many of these same women, hey man, get a hold of your child. Get a hold of your child. They'll curse you right out underneath your clothes. You know, do I want our black community to fall into disrepute? No. But what I could do as one human being, I try to do. Who I can influence, I try to influence. But I should not be held accountable for the actions of all black women. And that's just, for me, that's malarkey. But like I say, he is trying to appeal. This is red meat to his particular audience of black women, and it's going to make them reach deep down into their pockets and continue to hit the cash app. That's how I look at this. But I'll stop there and let Oni go.
No, I appreciate that, Juana. Trigger Happy said, criticizing Umar, we can't really assume his familial status. So here's what I'll say to that, Trigger. We talked about this just a few weeks ago on here. It was mentioned that we all know Umar is one of these dudes. When he's going around the country doing his lectures, he's out here, you know, trying to scoop up women. I mean, this is a known thing. This is nothing hidden. This is known. So my thing is, Umar, what are you talking about? But I'll keep it on the topic and not talk about the man. We know it. Umar's a pandering dude. Let's stop this now. Let's stop this. And I like everything Buana had to say there. You want to tell me I must now be responsible. And listen, I understand we are an African people, and in classical times, in traditional Africa, we had that Ubuntu paradigm and whatsoever. But that didn't mean that folks didn't have friggin' responsibility. Everyone has a responsibility. Where is your responsibility? Let me welcome in Brother Bakari this week. Brother Bakari, how are you this week? Unmute your mic, Bakari.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yes, sir.
Okay, peace to everybody on the panel. Chad, what's up? Buana, Oni, Koku, Chat.
What's up, white man?
What's up, good man?
I think I've just heard Buana and I've heard Koku. I think what we're doing, what you two have done, I think we conflated we conflated a whole lot of things between black men and women and got away from what black men are doing in the community and why, as they call them, and I won't use those names, they say Pookie and Ray Ray. So I'm going to say Kevin and Brandon, because I don't, we the only people in the world, if you get a name, we figure out a way to talk about each other because of your name. But that's something else. But anyway, when he was talking about what men is doing, and I agree with what, I can't say his name, Oya Barwale said in the chat, this is why black men is not respected. See, this is why when I say pound and pavement and I talk about mentoring groups, right? This is what I'm talking about. See, we can't just say, oh, are we responsible for women? This is why I didn't answer what was in the thing, because it was hard to answer. Yes, at times, then no. But the men who is not there taking care of the children, the women get blamed for that, right? Well, they're the only parent. And no, they're the only one that's involved, but they didn't make the baby by himself, right? By herself. So when we look at the thing, black people have to think about, do we want our community to be better, or do we want our children, 14, 15-year-old black kids, constantly going to prison for shooting and killing because the TV, the rappers, people like Lil Boosie can influence them? But instead of us trying to be an influence, we would look and say, well, you know, that's that woman's fault. Well, actually, is it her fault? Yes and no. Because I'm a firm believer in once a young boy get a certain age, 10, 11, 12, 13, he needs to be with the father. Because a woman can't show a boy how to be a man, just like a man can't show a little girl how to be a woman. So when we sit and we want to say, well, he's pandering, maybe he is. But the reason I agree with what's going on is because we were set and we allowing our youth, we say we want our community to get better, but we don't want to mentor, we don't want to get in the streets, we don't want to do nothing to make it better. You understand? But then when we allow people, I'm gonna say the name again, because people listen to him. When someone like Lil Boosie become an influence, then we blame the woman Pookie and Ray Ray. Well, Pookie and Ray Ray is trying to be like Kevin and Brandon. They are trying to be like Lil Boosie, who has become an influence. So guess what? They're gonna act tough. And a lot of times, this is just my opinion, and I'm saying it's my opinion. I've actually talked to someone. A woman want to feel protected. Now, lots of times they don't know them dudes, punks, and them dudes those dudes ain't gonna protect nothing. But they got their swagger, they acting like they tough, they talk like they tough. We ain't gonna let this happen to you, we ain't gonna let that happen to you. But then they don't live up to their words. Now they don't live up to their words, they're gone, their woman is gone. So then the rest of the community will sit back and we'll watch people ride around and shoot up folks' house. We don't want to snitch though, because that's against the rule. But we don't want to go out here and we don't want to have a mentoring program. We don't want to do nothing to try to make it better because she should have chose me. See, when I hear people say, well, they chose Pookie and Ray Ray, it's because he's weak. That dude up there with that New York hat on who say that, well, she chose him. He's mad because those women didn't choose him because he was weak. That's how I take those statements. Because we can just sit back. So I don't want to hear nobody say nothing about no white people created a problem. I don't want to hear, this is me. My personal opinion. Don't talk about somebody else when we are on such a high horse where we can't come together and try to fix the community. So it's either we're going to stop what's going on or we're going to just let the community burn. 80% of our black children go eventually just get blown up. We going to be dead. But guess what? That child ain't mine. No, that one child is not. The child, Herschel was not my responsibility either. He was not my child, but I met his father and I knew his father was a piece of shit, pardon my French. And I knew he needed a man to talk to, and I knew he would talk to me, and he did talk to me. Did I help him? Somewhat. I helped him a lot. He went down the road I told him he was going to go down. I don't make him do nothing. I just tell him what's going to happen. But then once it happened, then he come back. I want to change. I want to do this. I got a job. I want to finish school. I want to go do this. Can you help me? But if we turn our back because it ain't my child. We turn our back as a group. I ain't saying one person go out here and say the community is ours. I'm talking about black men stand up to be men. No other men let this BS go on. Show me where you can find, because we like to say white, I'm gonna say Oriental, I'm gonna say East Indian, I'm gonna say Arab, I'm gonna say Hispanics. Over here, I ain't talking about in 8 countries where they live. I'm talking about over here in this country where we live, where 14 and 15-year-olds can ride around and shoot up people's houses and the men don't do nothing. Well, the white folks, well, that's Susan child or Apu. Well, you know, that's our Raka child. That says not my. We the only people that take that approach, but then we say we want our community fixed. How can we fix it? Because anything that we build, guess what? Those children is going to still be there. So it's going to take the men, is going to have to be the one that's going to say, this is what's going to happen, and this is what's going to change. I'm just on that note. I get the mic.
I appreciate that, Bakari. I don't know if you heard it. I think you were in the chat at the time, but I gave an analogy that covers everything you just said. I said it's like us being on a big ship, men, black women together, and the ship has a leak in it. It's taking on water. The men go and find the leak and are bailing the water out of the ship and trying to patch the leak. And when we look up, there's a woman or women pumping water back into the ship. I have no problem, and I expect us as men to come together and want to fix our community. But first to begin with, that's going to be a minority of men. Let's just keep it real. That's going to be a minority of men who are going to come together with those intentions. And while we're doing that, we cannot have women as if they don't have no damn sense. We cannot have women making bad decisions for us to have to go back and fix those bad decisions, the outcomes of those bad decisions while we're trying to fix the community. It doesn't make sense. And this idea that the women could just sit over in the corner filing their nails, watching their stories on TV while men are trying to fix the community, and y'all ain't doing nothing. In fact, y'all doing the opposite of what we're doing by continuously choosing the low life, right? The kind of guys who will not help to build a community. We can't have that. That makes no sense. It makes no sense for us to be on that. Yes, men come together. Let's try to straighten up the community. But women, you can't keep doing the same shit again. You have to transform yourself and be in line with what we're doing. Only what say you to all this?
Yeah, I just said, you know, I just remembered I should have looked up a quote, but I can't find it right now. So I think it comes back to, so I think one of the issues, and this is one of the issues I had with Umar Johnson when I first met him, right? A lot of times we talk about organize and we don't have an organization, you know? And the quote I was looking for was a quote that I used to go over, you know, every, I want to say every 2 months when I had an organization, which was a Kwame Ture quote, who said, you know, black people, it's not about inferior or superior. You know, black people are, white folk are not superior to black folk. They're better organized because, say what you want, the Klan meets up every week to discuss their racist ideology, you know, whereas most black people don't. Obviously, we all do meet up in church or whatever, but beyond church, we don't really meet up once a week. What I could tell you is this, because I sometimes pass through this Jew area when I'm on my way wherever, and I noticed that they meet up every week to try to develop their communities. You know, I think the issue is black people, generally speaking, do not like a Brother Bakari saying, hit the pavement. We do not hit the pavement. We're not serious about bringing up black people. And I think, like, I'm not saying I agree with Umar Johnson, but I think that's what Umar Johnson could have been saying. But again, like I said, first time I saw him, he was talking all that organization stuff, but I'm like, what organization are you a part of? Matter of fact, I think I asked him and he might have told me something, but I was like, I never even heard of that thing, you know? But it's like, that's really what it comes back to. Because what I could say is this: I'm on social media, right? I'm on Twitter, whatever. And right now, these quote unquote Pan-Africanists are just jumping up on this other guy who says he's a Pan-Africanist. And they're doing this, and it's like, that's all they're doing. That's all they ever do. You know, they're just kind of gatekeeping Pan-Africanism, just gatekeeping the Black conscious conversation. And it's like, that's not enough if you're talking about Pookie and Ray Ray and whatever, apologies to Brother Bakari that I'm using that. But why I'm saying that is because I remember sometimes I would go to this, I'll go to the UAM. UAM, United African Movement, right? That's where Ultimatics was, right? And that's all the way down, and I'll give it for people in Brooklyn, I'll give you guys a clue. It's all the way down in Fulton and Franklin, near there, right? Near there, Fulton and Franklin. So I would decide to walk, 4 miles, back, in the middle of the night, I guess, from there, kind of down Nostrand Avenue, back to where the junction's at. Okay. So I walk these 4 miles and I'm just looking through and like, hey, I go to this nice, powerful Black meeting. And then afterward, I just walk through pretty much the hood, pretty much an area untouched by Black consciousness, and that would always kind of like remind me, hey, you know what? This work really needs to touch Black consciousness. Now, granted, I was young, I was a little naive, obviously you don't have the resources necessarily, given the conscious space, but at the same time, it's still a critique on our people. Because I remember one time I saw this one brother, getting arrested, and he looked at me in my RGB garb, and he's like, "Do something." I'm like, "Negro, why you wasn't there at the meeting?" like you should have been at the meeting. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't got no motherfucking funds. You should have been at the meeting. You should have had your shit right. But I really, really though, it reminds me of another story where this woman says, she saw these older Black men kind of laughing at this Black youth as he was getting beat up by the police. And she was like, realistically, I'm not talking about me per se, but she's saying realistically, she thought, really these Black men were just cowards. And they were just laughing to hide their impotence, And I think, I'm not saying that's what Umar Johnson was speaking about, but I think that is a subject that's underspoken about, in the sense of when he asked, hey, what are Black men doing? That's it. Now, Black women choosing the bad partners. The thing I realized about this, if I'm being honest with you, a lot of those Black women choosing bad partners are bad women, and they're bad women choosing bad men. Not really my problem, and not just not my problem. What I could say is this. I tried talking to one of those bad women. Shit, boy. You know what I'm saying? It was like at this point, like I said, I came to America. I came from Tanzania, and I came back, and I was, some people might say, "Oh man, this guy's, he can't put down a panty or whatever," right? I don't know. I'm celibate now. I'm just like, no. After dealing with the women here, I'm just celibate. And another thing I would say is this: that realistically, the women here, they like simping, And I know Koku don't like simping. I'm not really go against simping, but the women here, the simping in America is so different from the simping in Africa, where it's like the simping in America is women really like trying to steal from you, really trying to manipulate you. The simping in Africa is people kind of just being honest and upfront, that's just like whatever. Simping in America is women really trying to steal from you. Women will set up ways to kill you type. Like that's the caliber of women. So I can see why if somebody's not in Africa, they're so against simping, but like it's a totally different thing. And so Pookie and Ray Ray, say what you will, they're gonna pay for pom pom. Like even if you see that story of the boy Zion Williams, you might, you pity him after a while because it's like, damn, that girl crazy. But this is a dude who was paying $10,000 freaking dollars to get with a woman who has like a plastic woman for a night. This is the kind of, and again, he's an idol. He's an inspiration in the Black community. He's a whatever, right? But long story short, the women that we're talking about are trash women that, realistically speaking, I wouldn't even, like, you're not supposed to even touch with a pole. and the women and the men are also trash men. It's not like these are good women choosing good men or bad men. The problem is that you can't stop bad people from procreating. And so they procreate, and then they have these little bad kids. What can you do for these bad kids? Not really much. I mean, you should be able to do so. You should do something for these bad kids, I guess. You should do something for these kids. You could do, community work and all that kind of stuff. But understand that you can't do much about bad women and bad men, because trying to get involved with bad women it could get you killed. Like, I was talking to this woman. I'm pretty sure that if I had went through with our date, she would have set up some dudes to kill me. I wouldn't even be here if I had gone to this date with this woman. I'm gonna say that.
Let me also briefly say that Dr. Umar Johnson is a public figure. Umar Johnson goes all over the United States and even outside of the United States. And I'm sure that he has come in contact with many organizations, mentorship programs, and et cetera, that has men at the helm, young men, old men at the helm of these organizations. The challenge he should put out there on the platforms that he is on is just to challenge the people who would listen to him to join these mentorship programs within whatever state that they are in, or join an organization. Direct this idea of leadership that you brag about holding and wielding. It's all this influence that you seem to wield. Every public platform you are on, you should be directing young men or men with skill or men with training or men with the capacity to pass off their skill and training into a particular or program that's within the state that you are speaking and lecturing in, or whatever country that you find yourself going to. Be the cause of the solution, not exposing the problem on every platform you get on. You know what I mean? Brother Bakari, for a longest period of time, for a smaller platform that he was been on, he had the Black business program going. And that's on a small level. So consider a man like him. You know what I mean? If you in a leadership position, direct the brothers them on where to go, because some of them don't even know what to do. Some brothers don't know what to do. So direct them in where you believe that they should be properly placed. And people under the sound of your voice, people who have the ability to listen to you, maybe they may be directed to involve themselves a little bit more. Challenge the men that you around. You know what I mean? As a leader, it's your responsibility to do that as well. Also, let me say this too, because Brother Bakari mentioned something, and I wanted to speak on it. He said that we was talking about the men and what they ain't doing right, which is fine. I remember watching a particular video where there was a long slew of Asians beating up on Black women in the nail salons and the hair care product stores and things of that nature. Where there was a group of brothers decided to get together and stand in front of the Asian shop. I think it was a hair care shop or whatever. Basically trying to beg the women who was lined off to get in the shop to buy wigs and nails or whatever, and say, listen, why don't you buy a Black business? Hey man, don't go inside that. These people are gonna mistreat you. Do you know what they do to this? It was like 3 brothers. Do you know what a bunch of Black women do to these brothers? They was cursing them out, literally saying, "You can't tell me how to spend my mother effort." They really were gonna fight them. So I mean, the conversation, when we look at when we have a conversation, I believe that it should be 2 sides should be exposed, because it ain't just the big bad Black man who's always in the wrong, who don't get nothing right, who is creating the problem. The problem is twofold, and if you just addressing the male and not addressing the adult female, the result of it is going to continue to be lopsided, I believe. And that other side has to be addressed. This whole idea of the Black woman is God stuff, we need to bring it back to a human level and actually talk about both sides of the conversation, not just one side. And even if the man is gotten straight and gotten his business straight, if the woman is still state property, you still have a problem on your hands. So that side needs to be addressed as well. But Yeah, I'll leave it there. I'll leave it.
Okay,
Amen,
can I say?
brother.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
That's
Go
what I'm
ahead.
talking about. No, Bakari, I'm coming right back to you right now. Only I figured that was the quote you were thinking about. You know, I said to myself, I bet that's the quote. That's why, from you guys that first heard me do a show or whatever, I've always been talking about you got to get to these kids. You got to get you got to build educational institutions, bring them up the right way. And D Webb from the House Shawty podcast, he always says the problem with that is you're gonna have to fight a lot of these people's mama and grandmama trying to get these kids straight. I'm gonna throw it to Bakari, and after Bakari, I wanna ask this one question. Bakari could answer this too, as he says his part. With these youth out here, right? With these youth out here who are quote unquote bad kids, right? Oye mentioned that he used to be a quote unquote bad kid. But these bad kids out here who are around the gun culture, the street culture, tell me, how are you supposed to get through to those kids? How are you going to get through? How are you going to, in fact, how are you going to avoid getting yourself killed trying to get to these kids who are already out here in the street? Which is why it comes back to both the man and the woman. If you're going to be having children, right, you need to be responsible women, responsible men, both. You know, you have to be both. But Bakari, you say your part, and then I'd like to hear from each of you a suggestion on how we go about going out in the streets, pounding the pavement, and getting through to a 14-year-old kid with a gun in his waist. You guys tell me. Go ahead, Bakari.
Okay, first, I heard what you say, D Webb said, but there's a reason you only arguing with the mama and the grandmama. Why don't nobody ever look at? There's a reason you're only arguing with the mom and the grandmama. Because lots of the time the dad ain't there. And I'm just being honest. That's why you argue with mama and grandmama. See, it's both. Now, you know, but we are talking about the discussion with Umar. So we talking about the discussion with Umar, and what I agree with what Umar said, I ain't gonna talk about the other side. See, I'm just gonna talk about that one side. And that one side they were talking about was what the black men do and what the black men don't. And it's more of what we don't than what it is we actually do. And I'm talking about as a race of men, as a group of men. Come on, how can you be respected? They got this video, it's on YouTube. Dude in Baltimore, the police stood there and beat the shit, pardon my French, out of his son. And he tried to break it up. The police told, you better stop. He stood there and watched that police beat his 15-year-old son, beat him down. Well, I'm still recording you. How can you expect somebody to, how can you expect the woman to respect it? How can you expect the people in the streets to respect it? But those are the people, him, but those are the men that people are seeing as black men. Well, there's no respect. When somebody can come in your house and do whatever to you. This black man that got up and hugged that white woman that killed her brother. I don't even want you to go to kill this brother. I don't want you to go to jail. Just get Jesus. So look at the image that a lot of black men is given. So then when some women see, shit, this dude might be tough. He might protect me. Because a man is, I don't know, man, I'd say a man is supposed to protect. You know, in every species of animal, that's what the man do. The man protect. And when they living in a family environment, that's the man's job. All with the except of the hyenas, they kind of different. I don't know if I don't think we hyenas though, but I'm just saying that's what the man do. But when the black man is always seen by the world and by his woman as weak, it's black men. It was black men that built YouTube channels talking about a black man, forgetting a militia, talking about wanting to fight back. It's black men. When I'm out here saying, let's go to the gut, let's do this, and let's do this, let's do this. It's black men who don't want to go. It's black men who ain't trying to You know what? We do need to protect that. More women is purchasing whatever to protect themselves. So this situation, it's like we can, and I know Trigger Happy say I should never take the white folks out of the equation. We know what has happened, but it's 2023. And I'm not saying forget what happened. When I say forget about them, we gonna have to look at us because they ain't gonna change. That's what I mean by that. I ain't trying to take them out. I know what they did. See, a lot of these people we are listening to on YouTube, they'll sit there and they'll talk about people from the civil rights movement. Then ask them what they have done in 2023. How many of us has faced down with the police? How many of us have stepped up? How many of us have stepped up? How many black men let the police do something to their children and we don't do nothing? I'm just asking. Could be a rhetorical. And we don't do nothing. So then when they find that one that act like he might do something, shit, that's the one I want to be with because that's the one that's going to protect me. I don't agree with them being with Kevin and Brandon because I'm not going to call them Pook and Ray Ray because see, any black name can be made fun of. See, I don't agree with them being with the dude with the blue New York hat on and the dude with the camouflage. I don't agree with them going to saying they want to be with gangbangers or something like that. I don't agree with that. But I also don't agree with the ones like them that ain't going to get up and do nothing. Because, I can go deep in this because for me, it's deep. For me, it's when the police cuss my daughter out in front of me. That's how they treat us. Like we ain't nothing. But when I told him, if you ever cuss my daughter again, I'll put a bullet between your fucking eyes and cut your head off. How many of us ready to make that step for our women? But then when we look, I'm just saying, how many of us see the white dude in the grocery store getting ready to check this black woman and we make him shut the hell up? How many of us do that? Well, that ain't my problem. That's what most of us say. It ain't got nothing to do with me. So then when they choose Kevin and Brandon, y'all call them Pook and Ray Ray, or when they choose Larry and Donnell, y'all call them Pook and Ray Ray, then we tell them they chose them. They chose somebody who they thought would protect them. Because a man is supposed to be a protector. Now to answer your question, how do you deal with 14-year-old in the streets with guns? I'm 51, be a 51-year-old in the streets with guns. Shit, I'm just saying. Okay, so no, I ain't saying go out there and attack them, but you let them know. I've seen it work. I've seen some people run them out the neighborhood. Not just them. Folks left. Look, man, y'all gonna stop doing this around here. Some of my people who I'm cool with ran them out the neighborhood. This ain't gonna keep happening over here. They went and stepped to the houses, to their parents. What they should. Y'all got that, we got this. The next time it ain't gonna be this nice. Either y'all gonna get with the program and do right, or y'all gonna get the hell away from here. Some of them decided to get the hell away from there. Some of them decided to get with the program and do right. I yield the mic.
So Brother Bakari, you mentioned that the black women feel like they're unprotected. Okay. So what happened with that football player? Because people gonna pay attention to what they're looking at. And based on what they're looking at, they're gonna draw their own personal conclusion. So their personal experience is the black man ain't protect them. So now we had a big whole court case just now with the football player Trevor. I can't remember his last name. Trevor something. He come out of his house to protect his mommy. He said he come out of the house to protect his mother and his brother. And in doing that, he light up a car in Florida where his girlfriend invited her brother and a bunch of his friends to come shoot up his shit. So he defended his house, his property, and his family members. So what do you call that? Is that protection or that's not protection?
Yeah, that's protection. That's what he's supposed. That's what he's supposed to. He could have shot her too.
Right. I'm just hold on. Yeah.
I'm not trying to make like women. Okay, let me say this. I'm not trying to make like women, all women is right. What I'm saying is I'm just talking about what Dr. Umar and the dude and the weak dude in the blue New York hat was talking about.
Yeah, but Brother Bakari, he's saying that Brother Umar taking a big fat blanket and resting it on over all black men, where we know is many different instances where black men continuously stand up to protect not only themselves but their family members, not only in America but all over the world. But he seemed to go with a ridiculous narrative, and I think it's ridiculous. This narrative where black men don't stand up and be interested in I personally believe that they one-offs, because every person, every man on this panel, every male in this panel, under the sound of my voice, if their family member, daughter, wife, etc., was being aggrieved by some random person or even a police officer, would be willing to give up their life for their family members and someone who they care about. So I'm asking, where are these bunch of men who just will walk off and don't give a shit? Because it's certainly in the circle of brothers I be speaking to tonight. So where are these brothers? Where are these brothers?
Okay, I'm finna show you. You're right. It's not in that circle. But at the gas station, when this white dude sat up there and made this black woman cry, cussing her out and all that, treating her like crap, they were at first. I paused for a second. I'm like, let me see if they together. They wasn't together. All them black men walked by, and I went over there and told her, y'all. I asked, y'all together? No, okay. His friend was right there. Don't worry, stay right here. He ain't gonna say another word. If he say a word to you, I'm gonna beat his ass and his friend ass. Ain't neither one of them gonna say nothing to you no more. I saw a whole lot of black men walk by. Just like when I talked about that motorcycle gang. I saw all them, they were scared to make eye contact with the motorcycle gang. Me and Erica Howard was on the phone. Then my homeboy called, said, look at this shit. I said, man, look how these folks, he looked over there and turned his head the other. I'm like, look how these black folks look and turn their head the other way. And I don't have a death wish, and I ain't out here trying to, but I'm like, but some stuff, it's a way you can say things. Ain't nobody got to know why I'm talking, but I think they understood, but that's why they bounced after I went over there and talked to them. But watch this, right? I'm gonna say this to them. Watch this. What's her name? Harriet Tubman, who according to Dane, Chief Pretendian, didn't exist, but Harriet Tubman came back and saved people live with Underground Railroad. Guess what they say Frederick Douglass said on his deathbed? When they asked him why didn't he go back? Because he was scared what the white man was going to do to him if they caught him. When they was doing all that marching after that white boy walked in that church, walked in that church and killed them folks in South Carolina. I don't understand what the Confederate flag had to do about that. But when they started talking about the Confederate flag, black folk were saying, take the Confederate flag down. There was a black woman that climbed that damn flagpole and took that flag down and went to jail. Say black folks say they don't want to hear. I'm just saying there's been some things, and I know, see, in people like Azuli, who he have no idea who it is, but it's okay. See, don't nobody want to check men like that. He don't know nothing about that woman, but some bum chick. But don't nobody want to check them, but I will. They can get away with stuff like that. But he'll never come up here with that weak shit while I'm up here. He won't even come on the panel. He's scared to breathe. He typing, holding his breath, typing. But don't nobody check that. Because people are okay with men saying something, black men and black women fighting. I'm not even talking about is all women. Oh, I'm just strictly talking about what they were talking about. I'm not trying to act like all women is good. All black women is just great. But I will say the black woman is God. Heaven is the black woman womb. But that's not what I'm trying to say. I'm strictly just talking about what Dr. Umar was talking about. So why does it bother us when we talk about what Dr. Umar, what they were talking about, Pookie and Ray Ray? Why is it we got to go to what a black woman has done wrong? Because I know what you're talking about when they went out there, when they was in Oklahoma, after that Korean man had punched that black woman and folks, but you got to remember, Bawana, if we gonna say the story, we got to say it right. It was black women out there with those black men too saying, let's boycott. It was not just black men. it was black women too out there saying let's boycott. So I'm not trying to act like all black women is great. I'm just talking about what I think greatness is in all black women, but it ain't shown. But I'm strictly just talking about what Dr. Umar was talking about.
And I feel you, but Brother Bakari, you was the biggest proponent when we start blaming on the same panel, when we get into a dialogue where it seemed like we blaming the black guy. He was like, why y'all always blaming the black guy? So now I stop blaming the black man and saying, well, listen, the black man ain't all bad and the black woman ain't all good all the time. I just saying there's two sides to the conversation. That's all I saying. It's two sides to the conversation.
It is two sides to the conversation. That's why when I started, I said, I know I ain't talking about nobody on the panel or in the chat, but maybe Azuli. But other than Azuli, I ain't talking about nobody on the panel or in the chat. I'm not talking about nobody personally.
It ain't personal. It ain't personal. I talking generally too.
Yeah, I know, and I'm talking in general. What I'm saying is, I was just talking about what Umar said. Now, if the next prompt is about women, I'm gonna talk about the black women BS and how they would make a man sometime want to shake their ass to death. I can talk about that too. Not literally shake them to death, but grab shut the hell up sometime. Or stop doing this. I can talk about that too, but I'm strictly just sticking to what Umar was talking about. That's all.
Brother Bakari, he'll talk about, and I can stop on this. Dr. Umar Johnson is talk about all the feelings of the black man. But I would never hear him talk about a person like Reverend Slaughter. He been responsible in his community doing things. You know what I mean? It's like you're hearing the other side of the conversation where black men are actually actively doing things that are productive within their society and their communities. It's only him. All roads lead back to him. You know what I mean? Because it's like, okay, everybody fucked up beside you. Come on, man.
Come on, what? In that instance, you are correct. Now I'm gonna say this. Then when y'all say Umar is pandering to women, when I say get in the street, only do you remember I showed the one video I'm in the black beauty salon store, and you was like I was flirting with the lady working in the store. I'm gonna tell you something. When you stand out here in them streets and talk, I promise you, the women that come to Umar, just me going standing in front of Walmart, standing in front of gas stations, I promise you, way more. Now, it's a lot of brothers come up to me too. I have him, wow, all these people know you like that? I say, yeah, because I just stand out here and talk. I talk about black people and what we need to do. He was like, it was way more women than me. And do you know them women? Like, no, but you could tell they want, I promise you, own it. When you try it one day on it, then your tricking will be over.
No, I mean, look, I'll be honest. Back when I was a community organizer, women would throw their pom-pom at you for sure. I mean, the thing is, women like strong black men. And I think something that's not being spoken about is that it's kind of like what Oye said. The idea of a strong black man is oftentimes that thug, unfortunately. And I mean, that's a problem in our community. But unfortunately, women like strong black men. So I'll say it this way. Khalid Muhammad, it's well known. He was getting, pom-pom thrown at him. And I remember some sister was telling me, she was telling her man, in fact, she was like, Umar Johnson's a man. You know what I mean? Like, and she's like, oh, these other guys ain't, she was actually talking about us at the table, but I'm not going to repeat it like that. But anyway, but she's like, yeah, Umar Johnson's a man, And so it's like, yeah, when you get up and you stand up and you do community work or you're, or even I'll put it this way, because I'm thinking of a video game system or whatever. But like fame is important. It's just important. It's a real social factor for humans or even for animals throughout history. You being more famous than the other person actually has weight. If I was like, hey, I want to do the Black National Anthem, right? I could sing pretty well, but Beyonce says, actually, you know what? Let me do it. 9 times out of 10, or not even 9 times, 10 times out of 10, people are going to choose Beyonce. It's just common damn sense. So what I'm saying is that, yeah, like even if you there standing on the hood, if you standing on the corner, right? You're still a bigger public icon than the guy who never goes outside. The guy who never goes outside might be a better person. might be a more responsible person. But at the end of the day, just like there's so many factors in human I guess sociology or whatever. And one of them is your fame, one of them is just so on and so forth. I'll just say that. But yeah, definitely, you definitely get more pum thrown at you when you are in fact doing community work. So y'all make sure y'all do y'all community work, okay?
Women are confusing. Women are confusing what is strong for what is popular. These things are not. They are two different kinds. They are two different kinds of things. Just because a man is able to speak and stand on a platform, that don't make him fucking. That don't make him strong. You know what make a man strong? When he's wake up 6 o'clock in the morning and go work a job until for 8 or sometimes 10 to 12 hours, making sure that his family is well fed, they eat, they have food on the table.
But okay, hey, look, Bana, let me ask you this though.
But this
let me ask you this. She's 18. Speak for her when she's 18.
No, hey, if a chick, like I say, 18-year-old line.
You giving out 40-year-old values. When we talking about 18-year-old women, what is a good man for an 18-year-old woman? Her
dad is.
But you already know her dad ain't even there. What you talking about?
No, you asked me a question. Let me answer.
Her dad is in prison. Now what? You saw a good man's been in prison?
Hey, guys, I have other panelists who showed up for a little while now. Why not make your point? No. To the new panelists.
No, I think that only have a point when he says that for an 18-year-old, and an 18-year-old to a 17-year-old, 16-year-old needs to have a representative, and I would say a dad, a responsible father. Now, if the father is irresponsible, that's another issue. That's another feeling because she has nothing to point to. You say, well, this is a good man. So she looks on the social media and she sees this man talking good. You say, oh, this person, like Dr. Umar, no, this person must be a good man because he is saying all the right things to make me feel good. That's not necessarily what a strong man is. He's just a person who she is watching from the media saying, well, this must be what a good man is supposed to be. And to me, there's a disconnect. But I understand where he's coming from with that argument. I really do.
By the way, Pookie and Rere and them, my apologies, Bakari. Pookie and Rere and them ain't building no institutions either. So
they ain't gonna build a goddamn. I'm sorry, I don't mean to cut you off. I apologize. They ain't gonna build a damn thing.
They ain't gonna build nothing. So I don't understand why they're a choice. They ain't gonna build nothing. And as a matter of fact, y'all talking about weak men. A lot of times it's really the Pookie and Rere's who the weak men. I've known women. A lot of educated women tend to lay up with these types of dudes we're talking about, nurses and teachers and whatnot. And they'll tell you they like those guys because those guys don't be about nothing. They'll tell you that straight up. Those guys gonna come, they're gonna lay down, they're gonna watch General Hospital with them, they'll watch Melrose Place after that, they'll eat something, fucking go to sleep. These guys ain't about shit. So it's not like you even a chew. So yeah, he's popular in the streets, but he ain't about nothing when you get around him one-on-one. By the way, shout out to Marcus McGee and Marcus Garvey is the way who are out there in the chat. Let's welcome in for the first time, Oye. Oye, how are you doing this week?
I can't call it. How y'all doing?
Good. Thanks for coming through. What say you to everything?
When I watched the entire interview, I agree with what he was saying for the most part. I feel like we as black men, we gotta stop being so sensitive when it comes to like when they bring up these topics. Because I mean, when these like podcasts or whatever they call bring up these type of topics, it's just they know they finna get that polarity with it, and it's gonna be a cause for conversation. Is gonna create conversation. But I mean, the points that he was saying as far as from a United States dynamic is extremely factual. I mean, yeah, we know. I mean, it goes without saying. We know there's a large contingency of black women that's out here that you would say that's bum bees, as the brother in the chat said. But I mean, that still doesn't. It's a large contingency of us that's not holding up our end of the bargain, and we can't say that there's a large number of us that are holding down the fort. If it was, our community wouldn't be the way it is, and we as men got to stop pointing the finger and really take on what we can control. Yeah, we know it's finna be detractors from both genders, but if we can't control their behavior, all we can do is try to go for the youth and insulate them as much as possible, create systems as much as possible. That's why the people, the ones of us that know, which we all know this information, we all know what we got to do, but we, like y'all said before, we got to put boots on the ground with it. But I mean, when he was at the podcast, he prefaced the statement by saying, "I'm only holding the men accountable because I'm speaking to men right now." He said when he goes to speak to women, he holds them accountable. So I ain't see nothing wrong in what he said. I mean, yeah, he could have added in the female dynamic, but we know how it goes. We don't need to point the finger at them. We know what it is.
I appreciate that. Oh yeah, my only pushback against that, like I said a few times before, how can we be solving a problem and you're standing behind us creating more problems? That's my issue with not holding women and not putting the message out there, because Umar might have been talking to men on the panel, but he was doing this on YouTube where men and women will be seeing it. And once he said this, by the way, because here's the other side of it, on Twitter, for example, all kind of women who in fact, let me not even say that, but all kind of women of all sorts was propping up Umar for this shit here. You understand? And that further pushes away them from being accountable to what the whole situation is for us. But again, Oye, thank you for being here. I hope you stick around. And I hope you come back again. Although you do sound kind of familiar. Were you here before?
Nah.
Oh, okay. Well, thanks for coming through. I hope you stick around tonight. I hope you come back. All right. Let me go to our boy, our much maligned friend here, Zuliism. How are you this week?
Yo,
He
I'm
can
good.
breathe.
I'm
he must
good.
forgot I was still up here.
First of all, I'm gonna say this to every the black woman is not the black woman doesn't belong to the black man anymore. She's the state. Her husband is the state. You just a side nigga. I don't care what people say. Black men, you're not controlling the world. You're not controlling the economy. You're not controlling the armed forces. They're not gonna listen to you for the most part. So Dr. Umar, to me, I don't want to put him as a grifter because I think he's still working on the school. So whatever that is, he does that every time. He always panders to the women, even though sometimes when he get with the women, he tells them the truth on some soft shit. But when it comes to black men, he has no issue going all hard. Bro, I saw him talking about, especially when the interracial dating. When he talks about interracial dating, he's always attacking the black man, but he never says it was the black woman and the white counterpart that went to the Supreme Court to do interracial marriage. So, with this said, is this how you as a black? I understand what some people are saying. How you as a black man gonna try to like control or do something with the black woman when you're not the boss of your own? When you're not the head of state, bro. These women out there now, the new women, I don't know if the women back in the 60s, 70s, 80s were different, but these new chicks right now, they're not listening to you. They're not listening to you because the black man's image has been destroyed to the media and the news and through the mouth and ear of those women's mothers. So yes, black men has we have a lot of our issues that we got to work on, but like Goku just said, if the whole I'm black and I'm proud movement, the whole Afro movement, who studied these things? Who started most of those revolution that we're talking about? This society, they're not afraid of black women because black women are pawn used to control the next generation through the system. They teach the kids. So Dr. Umar knows all of this. How could the black man take sole responsibility? Oh, we got to do this. But meanwhile, like Goku just said, in the background, if it's implicit or explicitly, the woman is working to derail you. If she knows it or if she doesn't. How are you going to be the boss in another man's house? So me and the person to what I was talking about in the situation about Oh, I'm not defending any black woman. I don't know what you did with that dude. In the society where there's guns, there's all of this, and I could get murdered. So you want to blame black men for not going to defend a chick? You don't know what she's doing? I just watched a video. I was supposed to post it for Koku. A mother called her 14-year-old son to shoot and kill 2 other people. She put the battery in her black son's mind to come and kill 2 people on her behalf. A bunch of black men's been doing suicide missions all the time. Harriet Tubman did the bullshit. That's the story they told you. You don't even know if that shit is real. Dr. Umar does this all the time. Yes, Dr. Umar sometimes says a lot of truth. Yes, and that, but he always, because he knows his money comes from these people. Just like the pastor doesn't tell the black woman the truth all the time. Just like he's like Dr. Umar's like a preacher right now. All this talk he does is getting on my nerve. I don't pay attention to him no more. Because what he's taking about, we already know this. What's the next step? So to me, I feel that Dr. Umar, even though he speaks the truth, he panders a lot to black women. It's the black man cannot change the system or cannot work to build a system without the black woman, just like the black woman cannot do it without the black man. Because you know why? When the black man is outside working hard, doing the 9 to 12, who's at the house teaching the children? The black woman. But if the black woman is not buying into the black man's system, what is she teaching the kids? At the end of the day, like I said, these women are not ours anymore. No matter how you want to say it, oh yes, we love each other. No, you're the side dude. You're the one she comes to for sexual pleasure and for little affection. Her mind is already being filled by another man who controls your house from afar. That's all I gotta say, bro.
If black men feel like somebody else control their house, they just need to we just might as well just shut the hell up. Ain't shit we can do. What the purpose of talking? Ain't the purpose of doing? If you that weak for somebody can just come somebody else control your house. I'm just saying, I controlled my house.
No, you don't control your house. You don't control your house.
I can't speak. I can't speak for nobody else. And for me, I'm gonna ask this question: why is it when someone says something about black men, why black men get sensitive and got to talk about black women?
Right.
It's
that just started happening in the past 5 years. Black men have been taking all these accountability for a long time. What are we talking about?
What accountability? Okay, what accountability? I'll say it again. If you mention the black man did something wrong, unless you talk about Pookie and Ray Ray, I'm going to use the name that y'all like. Unless you talk about them, it's okay to talk about them. It's one thing Koku said that I agree with. This is something me and him always agree on. People think they tough. Those people in the streets and all that, a lot of them have a tough persona, but they are not actually tough, and it take the woman longer to figure this out. See, Dr. Umar talked about men. I'll see if I can get my friend who's a female, who's a psychologist, so she can come on here and she can talk about the women. Because I'm tired of the men being upset of somebody. Oh, but what about what the black woman did, Azuli? What about what the black woman did? And they didn't do this and they didn't do that. They told you Harriet Tubman did something. Okay, well,
that sounds just like Azuli.
Show me where she didn't do it. I'm just saying. And it bothers us so much if a black man say something, oh, you just a simp. Because I said something positive about a black woman. You just a simp. And the word simp is just thrown all around now.
Yeah,
you're a pimp. Are you a pimp?
What the reason I say a pimp is sometimes a simp too. Because a pimp will go defend a pimp could be a simp. There's no respectable. What is a pimp?
A pimp will go defend his woman. I'm just saying. So what's a simp? The simp was the opposite of a pimp. So when you calling me a simp, are you a pimp?
No, a simp is not the opposite of a pimp. A simp, if you just told a story, you saw a black man arguing with a black woman, you don't even know what happened between them, but you're gonna go defend.
I said a white man arguing with a black woman made her cry out there in the public. So I went in.
So what? Even that?
Yeah. Okay. Won't you hear everything? Won't you hear everything that I said? I said I went and talked to her. I went and talked to her and asked. See, you didn't hear that part. You didn't hear that part because you so quick. Because
you want to be a superhero.
Because you are so quick. Because you are so quick. Because you are so quick to get mad at a black man for defending a black woman. You are so mad because a black man defends a black woman.
It's not worth defending. I'm just talking about that certain type of woman that goes off and send brothers, send fathers, send uncles to go fight, and then they end up in jail or dead. I just told you a story.
But I didn't say I defended no woman that did that. I said the woman pulled up at the gas station, and a white dude pulled up, get out his car, cussing her out, made her cry out there in front of it. That's what I said. I say I waited for a second because I wanted to make sure they were not together. So then I asked her. That's what I said. And yes, they weren't together. See, it might be okay with you, Azuli, but it's not okay with me. It have nothing to do with being a superhero. But everything like, damn. Well, that's okay. Ain't got nothing to do with me. That ain't none of my woman home. You don't even know what he did. I do know he got out and cussed out because when she parked, her tire touched the yellow stripe. And then when I heard him, man, you don't shut the hell up. So yes, I did. And they got guns. I got guns. Shit. They ain't the only people with guns. That's the problem. We so scared of it. It's legal for you to buy a gun too, Azuli. In case black folks don't know, it's okay to buy a gun. A lot of black men act like they don't know it. That's why when I'm in this. When you go to the gun range,
I'm just saying that I'm not.
And I ain't just. But what you did was you called her a bum chick, somebody you don't know nothing about. No. You said I'm simping. Anything can happen to me, and they probably was together. And you left out everything I said because I said I defended a black woman against a white man.
See what you just did. What you just did. When I said a bum chick, I was not referring to your story. I'm just talking about going to defend some of these chicks in general. I'm not referring to your own personal anecdotal story. I'm just saying that there's a bunch of people, a bunch of women will put the battery in your back to go defend them, and then you end up jammed up. And then when you end up jammed up or dead, then they're nowhere to be found. I just gave you a story where a black mother, put the battery in her 14-year-old son's back to shoot and kill 2 people in Chicago.
Okay, but that have nothing to do with what I was just talking about.
What I'm saying is we cannot.
And y'all see, eventually people gonna hear my point. When I said I stood up for, and I said why, then they go to, well, this black woman did this, but that ain't what I was talking about. We too sensitive. We almost like the women now, the way we act.
Right.
The way we act. The way we get so sensitive because somebody said something about a black man. We damn near switching roles.
Bro, if that's what you want to say, fine. What I'm saying is, if the sister is not on the same as us, I'm not defending her. Plain blank and period.
That's respectable.
So if you want to,
who do you defend, Zilly?
And I'm just saying that I'm just talking about Dr. Umar has a habit of doing this. When it comes to the men, yeah. But when it comes to the women, yeah, they do it too. But it's the brothers. Sometimes the sisters are doing it because the brothers are not doing what they're supposed to do. What? Even if the brothers are not doing what you're supposed to, what is your end goal, sister? End goal.
No, but he as far as talking about making them masculine, yeah. I mean, you got to think, bro. If you got 30 years, of a whole family line, bro, that ain't had no father in their house. The women is finna be masculine and take a I don't need this man attitude. We know this. I mean, but again, like we know, like what you said, it's a black female that'll send you on a crash dummy mission. Yeah, bro, you're not wrong about none of that stuff you saying. But at the end of the day, bro, we can't control that. All we can control is what we do for the shorties that's coming up, the kids that's coming up, and try to create something to where we can insulate them so that they can have something that's gonna off balance what they got to deal with from those quote unquote bum chicks, as you said, or whatever. We got to do something, bro, because complaining about it not finna solve it. That's all I'm saying.
I'm gonna ask this question. I know because you got to go to your. So who's gonna turn our boys into men if we don't want to deal with one another? If we can just look, if it's okay, we can look. So I know, so I can tell my daughter somebody named Azuli because he don't know you. He ain't got no nothing about you. He don't know what you. He was said there and white boys beat you down because he don't know you and he don't know where your mind is. And I've already told my daughter there's a lot of black men out there like that, which is absolutely crazy to me. That's just me. I ain't saying nobody have to be like me, but to me, that's crazy. What grown black men can say, I would sit there and watch a white boy. I don't know her. I don't know where her mind is. Like, what? That's crazy to me, just to me. If you ain't gonna fight, at least break it up. Ain't got nothing to do with me. Like, that's crazy to me.
Well, all right. For time's sake, I gotta move on. That was a good discussion. We probably could have had that for 3 hours, to be honest. But for time's sake, we're gonna end at 11. Let me go to the brief topic number 2. We could always bring this topic back in the near future if you want. Thanks to KW7 for the super chat, by the way. Should brief topic number 2 is this who y'all want to imitate? How is Africa going to win the Cocoa War? This came with a link, of course, that takes us to TikTok. Hopefully it plays. I don't have a TikTok account. All right. So we'll
Ghana and the Ivory Coast are engaged in one of the most important fights in the history of African commerce. It is over cocoa, and the mainstream media isn't talking about it. I'm going to explain exactly what's going on and how this war for cocoa could set a precedent for trade across all of Africa. Pay attention. Africa is called Third World, poor and underdeveloped. But for centuries, Africa has supplied the world with both human and natural resources. Colonialism to build Western empires, slavery to build Western economies, oil to power your cars and machines, rubber for your products, diamonds for your necklaces, cobalt for your phones and computer chips. So why is Africa the poorest continent in the world, but the richest in resources? That is a conversation for another video. So make sure you're subscribed or following for that. Cocoa is the basic and most important raw material of chocolate and is $100 to $150 billion a year industry. Yes, billion with a B. Ghana and the Ivory Coast are two of the major producers of cocoa in the world. However, look at this graphic. Ghana and the Ivory Coast get just 6% of that 100 billion, with the majority of the profits going to Western multinational corporations. This is the kind of business that keeps Africa poor while making the West richer. Ghana and the Ivory Coast boycotted the World Cocoa Foundation meetings in Brussels, Belgium, in protest of these unfair trading practices. In Africa, we ship our resources to the West while we produce nothing of our own. As a Nigerian, how are we a major oil producer yet have fuel and diesel shortages every other day? How? The West then makes products with our resources and then sells those products back to us at inflated prices that they set with an exchange rate to their advantage. Exchange rate is another area I will be focusing on in a future video. When I was young, I could buy a crate of Sprite for 24 Naira in Lagos. I don't think 24 Naira will buy me one drop of Sprite today. So the West makes profit twice, with the purchase and resale of the raw materials, and then the sale of the product made with those raw materials back to us. It's the perfect hustle. So Ghana started producing its own chocolate to compete with the big boys in chocolate manufacturing. This kind of self-sufficiency is how Africa will rise. And in that vein, here are 7 Ghanaian chocolate brands you should all look out for. While this initiative is a great move for Africa, this won't be easy for Ghana. CocoaBot, the Ghana Cocoa Authority, uses cocoa as collateral for cheap loans from the US. There's actually a Ghana-free zone in Ghana that rewards cocoa producers who export at least 70% of their produce abroad. Yes, they are incentivized not to keep their cocoa in Ghana because Ghanaian cocoa is a major part of how they stabilize the exchange rate, a classic leverage tactic of the West on African natural resources. On top of this, Ghanaian children are suing one of the top European chocolate companies for child labor and unsafe working conditions, as they are forced to do the work due to the extreme low wages paid to cocoa farmers while these companies make billions. If Ghana and the Ivory Coast win this war for cocoa, Africa wins, and it will change the fate of the entire continent. If you would like to support my work, you can become an official supporter from the link on my profile, where you can also follow my free podcast and newsletter, and grab a copy of The Crusaders, a graphic novel in English or French, a series about a team of Nigerian siblings who go around the world reclaiming stolen African history, one adventure at a time.
All right. Is this who y'all want to imitate? How is Africa going to win the cocoa war? Let me start with Oni. Oni, is this exploitation? And I think you know why I'm asking that question, but go ahead. Oni, if you're speaking, we can't hear you. Okay, I guess Oni's not there. Let me go to Bakari. Bakari, what say you to this? Are you guys hearing me?
Y'all good.
Yeah, I hear you. I missed out when I had to step away. I'm still taking care of that right now. I heard you call my name. That's why I came up.
Oh,
But
okay.
I had to step away.
No problem. Let me go to Buana. Buana, what say you?
I don't think it's well how the system is currently set up, where the Ghanaian farmers are not being able to get a fair market price for their cocoa, and the people who are the other end, on the manufacturing end, are able to hype up the prices and in turn sell the same cocoa back to the Ghanaians. I think that arrangement needs to be changed, and I think that the president of Ghana was challenging the prime minister or president of Switzerland in terms of the cocoa arrangement, and they said, "Well, shit, man, we can do it ourselves." But I would be interested. I have to really step back and watch.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you. I can hear you. Yeah, but I'll just finish and I'll let you go on. Yeah, I think that it's a wait and see, because currently right now, as it exists, it seems like the Ghanaians are trying to sell chocolate, that good chocolate at a higher price, like the Swiss chocolates they usually purchase and sell in the airports and things like that. Usually them chocolates are like $20 a pop. They need to. I feel like how they should go about marketing and selling the chocolate that they are able to produce. Sell it like you can get it in regular stores at Walmart, like M&Ms or Snickers for $1, $2. Usually people are, you can get your people who won't pay for the $20 nice chocolate bars, but more. I think they should operate in bulk. And I think that they should try to sell chocolates for like $1 or $2, like how you would go in Walmart and different grocery stores. I think you get more bang for your buck. I don't know how they would go about doing that. Also, I don't know what the marketing campaign is for these Ghanaian enterprises who trying to get into this industry, because I haven't seen any advertisement for their brand of chocolates that they selling out of Ghana. I haven't seen them yet, and you should be able to start seeing these things like worldwide, globally. So I don't know what the whole up is, and maybe all across Africa is being marketed, but they need to market more in the Western world, because I haven't seen these chocolates sold in the stores around here. So I wait to see how they go about competing. But it's something that's needed. They need to be in the chocolate industry, because, like they say, if chocolate is $150 billion industry, they need to be at the end of where at least the people who are producing the chocolate are making much more. The farmers themselves are making much more on the production end in terms of the development of chocolate in Ghana. So I have to wait and see what they actually do, because he just created this initiative and say, well, we gonna market and sell the chocolate on our own. So he kind of like just did that maybe a year ago. So it's just, for me, it's still wait and see. But I don't think that they should not be in the industry itself. I think it's a good industry to be in. Also, too, when you take this kind of approach, you have to make sure your defenses are very strong, because corporations have private militaries too. And if they see that their bottom end is getting shorter or they being shortchanged, they're going to send their private military in Ghana and remove this president and replace him with somebody who much more friendlier to what they've been doing. So that's something that this president, I think he's an intelligent dude, but it's something that he needs to consider when he's trying to cut Switzerland off, or corporations in Switzerland from getting that largesse of the coffee inside Ghana. So that's something to be considered, but I'll leave it there.
Yeah, you definitely have to be ready to put up a fight. And, I've been thinking about that a lot recently, too, how these MNCs, these multinational companies, have a history, like you just said, one of having their own military connections and all that kind of stuff, man. Very, very interesting thing that Black folks need to think about. Africans need to think about it as we move forward in the future.
Hey, Coco, let me say something right quick. Because I got to get off. I want to tell you thank you for letting me speak. I'm going to have to listen offline. Okay. I'm going to still be listening. And it was good to be on the panel with my brothers. Even you, Zulu, you talk noise in the chat. I talk back, then you get mad. But for the record, like I put in the chat, when you talk noise to me, I just be talking noise back. It ain't nothing personal. You talk, I talk. But it is what it is. But for the record, you all right with me. But to everybody on the panel and the brother that just came up here for the first time, I can't even think of his name. It was nice meeting you and everybody in the chat, man. Peace out. Come check me out tomorrow. Mind our Black business. Peace. Thank you again.
You better be smooth.
See you then. Thanks for coming to Bakari. Oni, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. Go ahead.
Okay, yeah. Well, first off, I don't understand the question. Who's this who y'all want to imitate? What does that even mean? Like who's the reference? But how is Africa gonna? I mean, so I think you asked me whether it was exploitation. The thing I think that we have to come to terms. I think it's a good thing that this guy, that this brother is trying to, own up to the market. That's what we were supposed to be doing from jump. It's kind of like every other country industrialized and did it, and not just every other country. What I'm saying is Nkrumah already did this. Now, obviously, like Bwana just said, they took out Nkrumah for that, right? Nkrumah for that. But my whole thing is that that's what you're supposed to do. Like, I don't even know what the story, like our people continuing to give resources to other people. Now, there's a reason for it, right? Because what else are you going to give? That's the thing that we don't really come to terms with. It's like, what else are you going to give? Right? Even so, if you say, hey, you know what? We don't have to give anything. That's fine. The trouble is that you want to get so much. And that's how it is with a lot of our people. And that's how it is with a lot of our people. We want everything. We want internet. We want the PS5. We want the Jordans. We want so on and so forth. Because we want these things, we have to give something to get them, right? Oftentimes, luckily for us in America, we have money. You know what I mean? But if you don't have money, right? If your quote unquote government's not just printing money and handing it to you, then obviously you have to think of something to give. And so in the case of Ghana, it was cocoa. And obviously, so I'm just saying, like, if the president is breaking away from that, that's a good thing. I don't even know what the question's about. I think this is just a W for Africa. This is a W for Ghana. And I'll just say this. I think that Black people, particularly those who don't know, like who haven't gone to Africa or don't know like when they want to go to Africa or whatever, or like what country they want to go to for Africa, go to Ghana. Just go to Ghana. This is the African state for us, particularly us in the diaspora and the West African diaspora, particularly us. Just go to Ghana. If you've never touched down to Africa, go to Ghana and go to Kwame Nkrumah's site in Accra, his graveyard, his memorial. Go there. He's buried there. Ask him, what do you need to do? Where do you need to go? All right, that's all I'm gonna say.
Thank you for that. Oye, what say you?
They took making the steps in the right direction. I mean, it's always an uphill battle when you're talking about markets. The multinational corporations are the biggest syndicates, and they just go around committing crimes all over the world, and it's unchecked. So, I mean, it's like I said, it's going to take innovation, but I think that they're going in the right direction by holding some of the multinational corporations accountable. I just hope that they continue it and don't, even if they get a settlement, they still try to gain control of the markets, because that's definitely needed. But like y'all previously said, when you start talking about economics, you better have some military power behind it, or it's going to be futile. So they're going in the right direction, though.
Appreciate that. Oh yeah, only hit on something too that I always talk about, man. You gotta start thinking about competing, man. We should have been had that mindset to compete. This thing where you're just sitting around waiting to be handed some shit. We gotta get off of that. So it's good to see a nation trying to compete. And like Buana said, and what Trigger Happy 262 Plus said in the chat, Ghana has to advertise that chocolate to West African diasporans in the Caribbean. Those of Caribbean descent in the UK and South and Central America. That's where they need to be advertising that chocolate. Get the US chocolate out of there, or at least be next to it, right? You have to compete, and that's how they should go about competing. Let's hear from Razuli. Razuli, you heard everything everyone else had to say. What say you?
Well, my point of view is gonna be different. This same thing happened in Haiti when the Clintons destroyed the rice economy of Haiti, and this brother's talking about all the things he wants to do. How are you gonna enforce that? First of all, you come up to how our men who are leading your country didn't realize that from the get. How are you gonna enforce that? When the question said why to be part of this capitalist, this laissez-faire economy, you gotta be ruthless, bro. First of all is the cocoa feeding your people? You creating crops that's not even feeding your people. That's number one. But number two, yes, he recognizes that, or all of a sudden they recognize that. I don't know how your leaders didn't understand that from the get, that in Haiti to be what they did is they introduced the American rice at a cheaper rate, and then the people went for the cheaper rice. Once the farmers stopped producing their own rice, now they raised the American rice price where people can't even afford. And it's the same template that they use all over Africa. And now we're in 2020. Now people want to be, we got to step up. Bro, what kind of man we have? And this is down to what Dr. Umar is saying, and how do you let another person come to your country? You're a man, he's a man, and you let him dictate what you're growing? And okay, you're gonna reach out to other West African countries. You're gonna reach out. Do you know what is economic hitman is? Are you ready for the fight? That's what I'm saying. It's nice to talk about it. Oh, we gotta make cocoa. Are you ready for the fight that's coming? Who gave them? First of all, who created the policy where they were allowed to bring in their own cocoa in your crib? So, Okay, let's see if we. I've never seen that that brand even in America or anywhere, but we'll see. I'm just saying, Ghana cannot win this war by itself without the help of all those other 54 countries in Africa or even the Caribbean. But we all know that if you don't have the muscle to protect your asset, you're as good as dead. So that's what I'm saying with that.
Yeah, Arzuli, they didn't the Switzerland people, they didn't bring in cocoa and introduce it into Ghana. You know, they they basically gone to Ghana.
I'm not saying they introduced it, but I'm saying they made it. Most African do African people eat chocolate like that? What I'm saying is
I don't know, you know, maybe Milo in a Milo form. You know,
maybe in
like
the Milo, but Buana, but the Milo is not even ours. That's not even our
no,
making.
the thing is, right? The chocolate itself, the natural material, right, might come out of Africa, but when they package it, they usually packaging it in places like Switzerland and things like that, and then sell it to the rest of the world. Yeah.
And like you just said, Buana, you said not only they package it, and then like the brother said in the video, they resell it to you at an exuberant price, bro. And my question is, all these black people who are educated at those high level, Oxford University, Harvard Business, and you let them do that to your own country? Come on, man. Come on. You went to Europe, you came to America, you went to China, you went everywhere, you got that education, but you come back and you still let them do you dirty? Come on, son. There's something wrong with that, man.
See, because you thinking, right? That how these corporations are work, right? Is they ain't gonna go to the people who are actually like the farmers and things like that. They could go, like you say, they could go to a Western trained leader and say, listen, we're gonna make you rich, right? But we want access to this plot of land to produce cocoa itself, to produce only cocoa. And they can say, well, listen, these my people, I'm like, you gotta go buy it. It's like, no, we trying to shortcut that. We want this particular land because it's conducive to growing cocoa, and we gonna make you a multi-millionaire. You and your small little family business. Yeah, you and your family and your cousin. So because the president, who's Western trained, his mindset is in France, his mindset is in England, his mindset is in Europe. So he said, well, sure, you know what I mean? Sure, I can do that. So with the help of the military, they're able to take over that particular territory, and in some instances, force people, like you say, they are child labor, force people to work on these so-called plantations, give the people less than nothing to actually produce, to harvest all the coffee, ship that coffee, the raw material, back to Europe or wherever in these Western countries, you know, break it down and package it in say Milo or say Nestle's coffee, Nestle's chocolate, and sell that same product. And some of the people, let me tell you, the crazy thing is the people who produce the coffee and made the coffee, they can't even afford to buy the coffee. That's the funny part about it. It's a wicked act. But unless you really understand how all the levels work, you only could see one level. Like the farmer, you know, most of them, they probably never even seen a Snickers bar before. They usually don't end up seeing the end product. They understand that they going out and producing the material itself. But usually, a lot of these people who are in the fields themselves producing the coffee, they usually never see the end product and how that look. They usually never seen it. You know what I mean? But like you say, the responsibility, it ends to the head. And if these people, so-called leaders, who are, a lot of them are Western trained and Anglophiles, if they can't see the bigger picture, then the poor people on the ground will always be taken advantage of. It's just the nature of things, man. It's an African story. What you want me to say?
That's exactly what it is, Buana. It's not even only in Africa. It's all in the Caribbean too, bro. Like the farmer, the regular, the middle class people, the lower class, they're all at the mercy of these people, so-called leaders, who are selling the people out just because for some trinkets. And then this guy is on like the way he's talking, bro. Is he ready? Are we ready? That's what I said.
The only thing I would say is people like yourself, you know, because I don't leave it to the governments. Usually, I leave it to the small, the business minded men who say, man, listen, man, if they could sell Snickers, why they can't sell his Woolies why they can't sell his Woolies in Walmart and the grocery shop? So people like yourself,
you can't win these wars without the muscle, bro. I don't care how.
You could get muscle. You could get muscle. You could get muscle in Africa with Urzuli. You could get muscle.
Not this little muscle. I'm not in the gym. This ain't gonna work out to nothing. I'm not talking about these muscles.
Well, I'll leave it. I can leave it.
I'm just saying that if we were really united as a moral, like Burkina Faso, upward men, maybe these things would change. But the thing is it can do it alone. Like Trigger just said, the 54 countries have to make a conscious effort to be like, you know what? We buying stuff from Ghana, cocoa from Ghana, or whatever the product is. It might not even have to be cocoa. It's whatever let's say fonio, for example. I know Coco spoke about that a couple of times. Fonio is like a super grain. If people would say, you know what? We buying fonio from Ghana, or we buying fonio from Cote d'Ivoire, or we buying fonio from Nigeria. Not only this, but where's the mental consciousness to be like, you know what, we're gonna do that. Yo, that's what I'm saying.
Any other last thoughts on this prompt here? All right, let's go to Shoot the Breeze topic number 3 tonight. If you guys are listening out there, drop a 1 if you appreciate the conversation that's going on up here. Shoot the Breeze topic number 3 tonight is what is going on with the governor of Florida? Why didn't he see this coming? And this is going to take us back to TikTok. Let's check out the video, and then we'll discuss it.
Tough immigration law just isn't working out. Most immigration workers left, so Americans. The problem is, he says, show up late, work slower, and are ready to head home after lunch. Some even quit after just one day out in the field. And farmers say many Americans are not physically fit and simply don't work fast enough.
Many of our local farmers are dependent on immigrant labor to pick their crops every day. And that's the produce you and I are buying in the grocery store. But many of the men I spoke with agree that immigrants need to be legalized in some form or fashion. Several of the farmers I spoke with today off camera say the inconsistency of the immigration law is already hitting their business. They told me workers are simply moving to states who do not have immigration laws, and they say that could jeopardize farming.
Let's play it again one more time.
The state's tough immigration law just isn't working out. Most immigration workers left, so this farmer hired Americans. The problem is, he says, most show up late, work slower, and are ready to head home after lunch. Some even quit after just one day out in the field. And farmers say many Americans are not physically fit and simply don't work fast enough.
Many of our local farmers are dependent on immigrant labor to pick their crops every day. And that's the produce you and I are buying in the grocery store. But many of the men I spoke with agree that immigrants need to be legalized in some form or fashion. Several of the farmers I spoke with today off camera say the inconsistency of the immigration law is already hitting their business. They told me workers are simply moving to states who do not have immigration laws, and they say that could jeopardize farming.
All right, so that should be topic number 3. Someone's mic is on. That should be topic number 3. What is going on with the governor of Florida? Why didn't he see this coming? I got a couple of ones. Brother Bakari said 1, 1, 1 for everyone except Azuli. Marcus McGee hit a 1, and so did Oni. who's on the panel with us now. Let's start with Oni. Oni, what's going on with the governor of Florida? Why didn't he see this coming?
Why didn't he see? Yeah, I mean, it is kind of weird that he didn't know that the immigrants were doing all the work. It is kind of weird. Like, how do you get in that position and not know? But like, yeah, that's the trouble with, like, the thing is this. It's, do not believe your own propaganda. You know? Do not believe your own propaganda. It's like I was just, matter of fact, I just quoted unfortunately I quoted Bill Cosby on Twitter. And so, to preface why I quoted him, I'm like, we actually quote, you somebody would quote Washington or Jefferson too. You know what I mean? Like you would quote somebody who's not necessarily a good person. And now I use that to say Washington and Jefferson, they might have said some, oh man, black folk is ugly and black folk is stupid. They didn't live that. But if you owned a plantation and you really believed that black folk were dumb and black folk were stupid or black folk were ugly and all that shit, right? Somebody, one of the other, owners would have been like, hey, don't believe that shit. Come on, you know damn well we're not trusting stupid people to this stuff. You know what I mean? Like these black folk is my blacksmith. These black folk is my this. Like these black folk doing stuff, right? And of course, Jefferson. He ain't believe no damn black woman was not beautiful. Fucking pig. Anyway, but what I'm saying is that you don't believe your own rhetoric. The rhetoric is just to move people. So the conservatives are like, man, we don't like those immigrants. We don't like those immigrants. But it's just to move the white base. You do not believe your own propaganda. But if you a stupid ass, right, you're going to believe that dumb shit. And then you're going to end up with a bunch of fat farmers, a bunch of fat farmhands. And damn well fat farmers, a bunch of people quitting on the farmers. And then you got a food shortage. And then you got this. It's because you got to know when to say the right stuff. It's kind of like even that. Like I say this. So sometimes I'll be on my Discord and a brother might be like, man, so what are we going to do about these white boys? I might have of that interview you did with RJ Mahdi, right? Where it's like, what are we going to do about these Asians in Africa and all that stuff? And it's like, look, on the rhetoric side, on the idealistic side, you would say, we don't want none of these motherfuckers in Africa. We don't want no Asians. We don't want no Europeans. We don't want nobody in Africa, right? But on the real side, it's like that brother was saying, right? I don't know how to get no damn oil off the side of the Senegal. I can't go on no damn ocean to get no oil off of Senegal. If I want to sell that oil, I'll have to cut a deal with a person who has the machinery. Or if you say, well, why don't we build the machinery? Okay, I don't know how to build no damn giant drill, So why don't you learn how? Yeah, so if I have to, at some point, you're going to come back to, okay, somehow, some way, indirectly, you're going to have to get involved with these other people. You could say, look, close the door, close the border, we don't give a shit. And I mean, that's fine if you really serious. But again, that's another thing that we're not even serious about. Even when you talk about the chocolate just now, right? Do you want European buyers of this chocolate? Now you might be like, hey, no, I only want African people buying this chocolate. Okay. So are you willing to sell the chocolate for much less than you would in the international market? And I mean, look, you can take that. You can bite that bullet, if you will. You can do that. Okay? But it might even come to the point where it's like, why the fuck, like what Azuli was saying, why the fuck are we even doing chocolate? If this is the returns we get. Because the only people that really want chocolate are the people in Sweden. Or the people in America. If the common man is not even interested in chocolate. Because I remember, in fact, I was in Africa, matter of fact, I'll tell y'all this. I was in Africa, I was in the store, and it was a store that mostly catered to, it was in the mall, right? Them prices for chocolate, shit. Y'all know that Ferrero Rocher? Because that Ferrero Rocher is pretty expensive here in America. That shit double in Africa. Ain't nobody was picking that stuff up. Only people picking that stuff up would have been the foreigners. Ain't no reason. We talking, what would it be like, $10 or some shit? No. Yeah, maybe like $20 for like one of them, but like a big case of it. But like I ain't paying no $20 for no chocolate. You really have to love that chocolate. But anyway, my point was, I just got a little. But my point was that you do not buy your own. Like you don't get high your own supply or whatever, but you don't buy your own propaganda. You say that shit, you get elected, and then you do. That's why I don't like this guy Biden. I ain't gonna hold you, but I get what he's doing. He's he says all the good stuff. Fuck Wall Street and fuck this, blah, blah, blah. But I'm gonna give you guys this stuff. I'm gonna give you guys these student loans and all that kind of stuff. He says all that, but then realistically, he's like, okay, I'm in office. I won. Politics as usual. This guy said, no, I'm gonna I think he's trying to run for president, and so he just had to go, tell his base, oh, I ain't gonna fool you. You're supposed to fool people, otherwise you're gonna look like a damn fool, and your people ain't gonna have no fresh produce. But of course, y'all don't even eat produce, so it's whatever. That's it.
Right. Yeah, I like that what you had to say there, Oni. Let's go to Oye. Oye, what's it?
What I see from this is basically it just showed me that the politicians in the United States really don't have a high opinion on the intellect of the people that's going to be voting for them. It's really optics and rhetoric over substance. I mean, if he can, because he's trying to go the presidential route later, so everything he's doing in Florida right now is trying to set that groundwork so he can be the Republican candidate. But I mean, we all know that anytime it's capitalism, it's finna be immigration's finna be right near. It's the same stuff that's went on during the Gilded Age and every time in America. So I mean, it's just regular American politics. He talking anti-immigration, take all the jobs without the BAM. He know what type of demographic he's targeting, and that demographic that he's targeting is gonna go with it. I mean, it just is what it is. It's stupid, but it is what it is. I yield the mic to.
I appreciate that. Let's hear from Erzuliism. What say you to this?
To be honest, I don't even buy into this stuff. It could be proper. To all of a sudden, there's food shortage, or we gotta. I don't believe all these things to me is propaganda. I don't know who's doing this propaganda. I don't know who wrote it. It could be the Democrat side doing it, and it could be the Republican side to like the brother just said, to appeal to the Republican, oh, we don't want immigrants, and then this could be a Democratic hit piece to be like, oh, this is what happened when a Republican. This is what's gonna happen to us. We don't have anybody to pick the fruits, and then again, it's like how much you paying these people. So to me, this stinks like propaganda. I don't know which way to look at it. I don't buy into it. So that's what I'm gonna say about that.
This story does prove the whole thing about the immigrant, though. The immigrant will come in and they will work hard. They will do the things that the natives in a place aren't too keen on doing, especially at that price point, etc. And so this is, we've talked about this in terms of the whole FBA and ADOS rhetoric against immigrants.
The immigrants are being exploited, to be honest. I mean, because just because you come here, I don't know how much they get paid. If you're making, let's say, you at home, the immigrants, what the immigrants don't understand is that the reason why their country is the way it is because it hits on their country. So they come here and get to do an extra $4 or $5 for something for that most of us are not gonna do because we recognize and we've been to school that it's unfair. So I don't, when people say, oh, it's the job that we don't want to do it because you're not paying a livable wage to people.
Yeah, but the immigrant will do it because in some countries, $1, even like in the Caribbean, like Guyana and them, $1 is like $1,000 or a couple $100 for $1 US. So the immigrant will do it because he or she knows they could send that money back, and that money stretches out. That money does its thing, right? So yeah, you're right. In America, though, the native in America will look at that money and say, that doesn't make no sense here for me. But the immigrant is doing it because that would make sense for his people back home. I just wanted to share that piece. Urzuli, finish your thought.
No, I was just saying that, like, so at the end of the day, I think all this show is that it's going to show that we need immigrants, so we need to let the immigrants, because they do all these things for us. So again, they're going to use that to do whatever they're going to do for the next coming election. So I just don't understand this, and I'm not going to pretend that I'm going to read this story, because the news is a bunch of, I don't trust this news. So I mean, it is what it is. I don't have anything to say about that.
I think that everybody, Americans are not stupid. Americans are very smart. Well, I give them credit for being very smart. Americans know how America works. You know, you all know, Americans know how America works. Illegal immigration is something that most Americans, they understand that if I want to get a bag of oranges for $3.50, then somebody gonna be getting the shitty end of the stick. You know what I mean? So I pay in the illegal immigrant where I don't have to pay for his health care, medical care, all kind of things like that as a regular citizen. I can pay him much less as an illegal immigrant working under the table, and then at the end of the day, sell them same produce for $3 a time, $3, a whole bag of oranges for $3 a time, as opposed to an American citizen, where there must be certain checks and balances. I have to ensure all the different things of a regular American citizen. So I have to pay for that, and including his labor. So I don't know what the wages now, the minimum wages for an American worker now. So where I don't have to pay for where for an illegal immigrant, I don't have to pay. I may not have to pay for the so-called the regular price of a regular American citizen. An illegal immigrant, that can ensure that I can purchase bags of apples, tomatoes, onions, all the things that these illegal immigrants pick for less than nothing. You know what I mean? So when I buy that from the grocery store, I don't have to pay $15. But now, when they get rid of all these illegal immigrants, now the same things I used to pay for $3, now I have to pay for $15. Why? Because regular American citizens have to pick these fruit, these vegetables, and all these different things. And to do that, you have to ensure certain things are done for a regular American citizen. Americans know that. They know that. When there are shortfalls in the military and the army, they get these same illegal people, illegal immigrants, and put a military uniform on them and have them go fight for their country. This is historical. This is how it's done. This is how the system actually works. You know what I mean? And I think that most Americans understand these things. So when you start removing these things, and the actual cost of picking oranges by American citizens is shown, you actually reflecting it at a grocery store, people are gonna say, well, wait a minute. Well, you know what the result was gonna be. You know what the result was gonna be. If it ain't the illegal immigrants picking your fruit and making sure you could have a Bahamian immigrant pick a bunch of oranges for less than a whole field of oranges for $150, where for a regular American citizen you have to pay $1,500. You know, and the reason why a lot of immigrants have been able to exist on that kind of income is because the typical immigrant coming from a third world country, he could exist on $30,000, $20,000 a year, feed a family of four plus his wife, because he understands that in his country you probably have to live on less. So he still is able to take the $10,000 from the $20,000 he's receiving per year and send it back home, because his mindset is he have a $10,000 a year mindset. You know what I mean? A person that's in a situation, he ain't gonna go to Red Lobster. He getting grits and tuna to eat every night. That's his food. That's his reality. So that's how they've been able to exist for so long. But when you get rid of that dynamic, there are some results that I don't understand how Americans are unaware of that, because that's how the system been working. It's been working that way. But needless to say, man, I don't know. I'll leave it.
You give Americans too much credit, boy. My God, you give us too much credit.
Let's welcome Carl Hezekiah.
How you
Carl,
doing, Goku?
I'm good. I'm good. Thanks for coming through.
Man, I live in Florida, so you know, this is my, I call him Ron the Satan, because he's an idiot. You know, everything he does is just. Anyways, let me just stick to the topic at hand. So he knew exactly what he was doing when he signed these laws, but what he's doing is that he's appealing to the bigoted feelings of his voter base. He knows that, you know, this is a topic that many racists in America support. Illegal immigration. They like to pretend illegal immigration is the problem instead of actual government policy that is created by the Republican Party. So they use illegal immigration as a scapegoat. So what this thing is, it's a dog whistle to his base to get them riled up, and you know, if we're going to get rid of these immigrants, we're going to bring these jobs back to the American people. Now he knows this was going to happen. But what he's going to do is pass out the blame. Well, you know, it's the Democrats causing this problem. This state has been ruled by Republicans for 20 years. You know, they've been governors in the majority in the Senate, and what they're doing is very intentional. But he's trying to rile up his base for his presidential run. That's his goal. That's his desire. So what he's going to do is blame, you know, whatever happens on somebody else, and they're going to eat it up. That's why DeSantis has been going into Texas, taking people from across the border, people who were coming in seeking asylum, taking them flying into New York to Massachusetts. It's all theater to show that I'm doing something about the illegal immigrant problem, not Biden. I'm the one to vote for. But he knows these prices are going to rise in the stores, and he's going to blame it on Joe Biden's economy. So this is all a part of his plan. And to be honest, most Americans are not very intelligent, to be honest with you. You know, individually we're smart, but as a group, as a people, we're not. You know, it's too much propaganda. We're the most heavily propagandized people, I think, in the world. You know, American media just feeds a steady, relentless stream of propaganda to where we believe that stuff. We believe our troops are going overseas fighting for freedom. You know, we believe this nonsense. And in reality, it's not the case. So what DeSantis is doing is very calculated. You know, he's done a lot of things, such as, you know, getting certain things about Black history, getting out of the schools. You know, as far as his issues with gay people, whatever. He's signaling to his base that he's going to create the America that they want. So this is very calculated. He knew what he was doing. You know, he's a demon from hell, but I got to give it to him. He knows how to appeal to the people who are going to vote for him. And I'll leave it there. Thanks.
Thanks, Carl Hezekiah. There's a follow-up to this. So if you had any last thoughts, hold them for a second. There was a follow-up to this. This came with a link as well. Looks like it's taking us to TikTok again. We'll watch them comment.
This bill is 100% supposed to scare you. I'm a farmer, and the farmers are mad as hell. We are losing employees. They're already starting to move to Georgia and other states. It's urgent that you talk to all your people and convince them that you have resources, state representatives, and other people that can explain the bill to you.
I really didn't prepare anything, but I agree with everything that Representative Brown said. This is a bill basically to scare people from coming to the state of Florida, and I think that it's done its purpose. This bill really doesn't have any teeth.
This is more of a political bill than it is policy. It does give more police state powers going forward to deal with immigration, but still, this is mainly a political bill.
All right, so that was the follow-up. Does anyone have any final thoughts on this prompt? Oh, wow.
I expected I expect the corporations, the agricultural corporations, who understand these kinds of things, to step in and say, well, hey, wait a minute. You all want certain things for a certain cost, a certain price in the state. If you get rid of illegal immigration, what do you think is going to happen? I mean, Carl say that I think Americans are stupid. I can't think that because it's like they're so easy to put together. That's so easy to put together. If you get rid of illegal immigration, what do you think is gonna what do you think that you're gonna have to pay for the simple things you would get from the grocery store? The usual products, lettuce, tomatoes. Do you think it's gonna still cost $3? Come on, man, it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. I mean, you can't. I would think that you would be able to see that. And maybe in my mind, and that's how it works, I would think that you would make the connection. I say, I guess Americans don't make the connection. I would make the connection. That's obvious. Maybe that's
Yeah,
just me.
man.
I don't.
It is just you because they don't mind hurting themselves if they think it'll hurt the people they hate more.
Right.
You know that's kind of the whole thing about cutting off your nose to spite your face. There's been many policies, many things that would have benefited the white people, people in this state that they have vetoed or they have gotten rid of because they think that it will hurt people of color, black people, Mexicans, Latinos, whatever. It will hurt them more. There's been, I'll give an example, when they wanted to expand Medicaid during Obama was president, they wanted to expand Medicaid, have more people, available to get health benefits, and the governor vetoed it, and that money ended up going to Ohio, and it would have benefited many people in this state. But the fact that it might have benefited some people they didn't like, they were willing to get rid of it. So yeah, it's a sick mentality. I can't explain it.
They feel that this country turning brown, so they'll sacrifice the lettuce going up a couple dollars if they can stop that from happening in their mind. The average American doesn't understand civics at all. So you giving them way too much credit, or giving us way too much credit.
I appreciate that from all you guys. Hey, we're gonna end at 11 p.m. So let's go to the next and last topic. We can have a little discussion on this. Thank you all for everything you'll have to add to that last topic. Shoot the Breeze topic number 4 is, why would DC Young Fly's partner take this risk? We need to start telling females that life with a regular figure is better than taking a risk and dying. This came with a link that's going to take us to a YouTube short, it looks like.
An outstar Ms. Jackie O, who was in a long-term relationship with DC Young Fly, has sadly passed away at the age of 32. The exact cause of her death is currently unknown. Ms. Jackie O, whose real name was Jacqueline Smith, had been featured as one of the Wild and Out girls before launching her own lip gloss line called the J Nova Collection. DC Young Fly, a prominent figure on the show, received the tragic news while filming new episodes in Atlanta. The Wild and Out social media page expressed their sorrow, highlighting Jackie's talent and the impact she had as a member of the show. Former Wild and Out star Ms. Jackie O, who was in a long-term relationship with DC Young Fly, has sadly passed away at the age of 32. The exact cause of her death is currently unknown. Ms. Jackie O, whose real name was Jacqueline Smith, had been featured as one of the Wild and Out girls before launching her own lip gloss line called the J Nova Collection. DC Young Fly, a prominent figure on the show, received the tragic news while filming new episodes in Atlanta. The Wild and Out social media page expressed their sorrow, highlighting Jackie's talent and the impact she had as a member of the show. Former Wild.
Yeah, that woman was a mother to children, a wife, and all that. That's a shame of what happened. But the question is, why would DC Young Fly's partner take this risk? And it's about telling women that life with a regular shape is better than taking a risk and dying. Carl, what say you to what you saw about the story and the prompt?
Well, I disagree with the way the prompt is worded. Women are adults and they can make their own decisions. So I'm pretty sure this man, he had 3 kids with her. He didn't have a problem with the way she looked before, but she made her own conscious decision. I'm not going to put this on him because this is a grown woman who can make her own decision, and this is a tragedy. But he could have said no till he was blue in the face. You can't stop her. You're going to chain her up in the basement until she can't move. So yeah, I'm not going to blame him for that. I do believe that there's an unrealistic standard in society for women. They have the whole thing about snapping back after they have a baby, and it's a whole multi-billion-dollar industry to try to convince people. You got to look a certain way, you got to have a certain shape, and I'm sorry that this young lady lost her life. From my understanding, she was having multiple. She had a whole what they call a mommy makeover, breast lift, butt implants, all of that, liposuction, the whole thing. And it was just too much for her body to take. And it's just unfortunate that she felt that was what she had to do to keep her shape or to stay attractive. I'm pretty sure, DC Young Fly did tell her not to. But again, you can't tell her, in a situation like this, America, these women do what they want to do. And then we got to stop talking about these women like they're children or they're infants. They're full adults and they do what they want to do. So I'm not blaming him for this. It's a tragedy either way, and I hope that more people understand these BBLs are killing people. It's not worth your life, and I hope this need to look a certain way. People just understand being content with your life. I've heard of something saying that comparison is the thief of joy. So these people are comparing themselves to other people online, these touched up photos on Instagram, and they're thinking that's the way things have to be, and it's really not. So it's a tragedy either way. Rest in peace to this young lady. It's not DC Young Fly's fault. I'll leave it there. Thanks, Coco.
No, thank you, Carl. Oye, what say you?
I gotta keep it 100. I feel no sympathy towards this lady. I mean, if you die because you get cosmetic surgery, bro, you an idiot. Like, you play stupid games, you get stupid prizes. It is what it is. She got kids or whatever. She was with dude. He a clown too anyway. So yeah, I could care less. I mean, play stupid games, you get stupid prizes. It is what it is.
I appreciate that. Let's have from Oni on this. Oni, what say you?
I like what the brother just said. 5-4. The more you fuck around, the more you find out. what were you thinking? So I never really pay attention to this story. I know that I know this other brother got kickback for his comments on this. But first off, this is a white woman, right? Like, this is a white woman, right? I'm just confused. But okay, so you got this white woman. Now
she's biracial.
She's biracial. anyway, so my thing is this. I just processed. She's a wilding out girl. Now I was kind of like thinking to myself, what is a wilding out girl? Is that was she on the show? Was she one of the speakers? She was one of them women in the background holding the placard. Or one of them women, the quote unquote good looking women giving. I don't know. I don't think she was a comedian. I don't know. But it sounds like she was one of those women in the background who's just supposed to look pretty, right? And then maybe some guys. She was, yeah. And then maybe the guys in the audience are like, man, I wish I could mess with them. And so you got this one guy right here, DC Young Fly, who evidence shows he ain't really give a shit about her because again, she was just a pinup girl, right? So it's like, yeah, I mean, if she felt like I'm gonna agree with Carl in the sense of, if she felt like she needed to be the pinup girl even at her big age of 32, good for fucking her. You know what I mean? Like I'm with Oye in the sense of I don't care nothing about no white girl. I don't care nothing about a white girl, but I'm also gonna repeat the guy 5-4. The more you fuck around, the more you find out. What do you do? I mean, like, I'm not gonna say she's pretty because I don't think no white girl is pretty. But like, if she's pretty enough, for white folk or whatever, what do you like? Again, I don't even care.
That's a cap.
What's a cap?
You said
Anyway,
she's not pretty. Stop lying. You're
Talk to him, Razuli. Talk to him.
I would
Talk to him.
never.
You know you
I,
would. Don't lie.
you
Tell the
will
truth and shame the
not.
devil.
Nah, I'm a recite. I'm a recite. Wasn't the damn it, Khalid Muhammad right here. And matter of fact, by the way, if she plastic, why the fuck would I want her? But anyway, I'm gonna recite Khalid Muhammad. You will never see me with a blonde haired, blue eyed, stringy haired, buttermilk complexion, straight up but straight down, ironing board backside, miss 6 o'clock, no frills, no thrills, subject to have the itch, white kid, bitch. Never will you see me do that. I'm just saying it like that. But anyway, I'm not capping. You think I was signing that shit? You think I remember that thing? Please, man. You're never gonna see me. Anyway, but what I'm saying is this. Yeah, I don't want to give a shit. I mean, yeah. I mean, like, I don't know. I do like. It's like, yeah. I'm with. Oh yeah. It's like I can't even say sucks to be her. I can't even say sorry for her because it's like what are you even fucking doing? Like, what? You are 30 something years old. I mean. So I can say this other brother got in trouble because he was like, why this man never married her, right? Why she have 3 kids with this man and never marry her? And that's on her. Like how you gotta be as a woman, right? You got 1, 2, 3 kids with some dude. You just a pin up in the background and you still get into like how unhappy, how unsatisfied, how much of a loser do you have to be? Like this, like here's the thing about being a loser. I'm gonna tell y'all the truth. The thing about being a loser is that you lose. This right here is an L. You dying under the knife, that's an L. Over plastic surgery, that's an L. That's you. Hey, you know what? I'm a loser. And maybe she tried to look like a black girl. I don't know. Right? I don't see it, obviously. You know, probably should have tanned her skin or something, right? Maybe she was trying to be, but like, if you're a white person and you're trying to look like a black woman, right? You are a different level of loser. You know? I'm gonna just say it like that. You know? So yeah, 5-4. The more you fuck around, the more you find out. Period.
Arzuliism. I don't think I got you on this one yet. What say you?
I don't. I just wonder who put this post. Was it Dr. Umar? That sounds like Dr. Umar the way he plays. Again, we need to start telling female that life will forever. What does that mean? This is, and again, it's another way of blaming brothers for their women decision. We need to tell, you tell the woman eat better, or don't tell me anything. You tell the woman to go to the gym, they fight you on that. You tell the woman that you don't need to do this, they fight you on that. This is something that these women nowadays in this century are going through. They want to build their body by the doctors instead of going to the gym, instead of eating properly and stuff like that. And I said the same thing one time. I was like, why would DC, that's the mother of your children. Why would you let her do that? So people like, where's the manhood? Where's the step in the way and be like, no, you're not doing this. Go to the gym, get a trainer, and do it slowly. This young lady, I don't know, her like the brother Carl just said, a mommy makeover is everything all together. So maybe her body couldn't take it, but you're the husband, you're the father. Why do you just let that go? And again, that's who you choose to be the mother of your children. Her kids are probably going to do the same thing. And again, like the brother just said, who the hell is DC Young Fly? They don't have any a moral sense of, they don't stand for anything. Everything goes. So, like, do I feel sorry? Yeah, I feel sorry for the kids who are not gonna have the mother present. I feel sorry that this lady put her body in front of her kids instead of, oh, you know what? I could go walk. I could go this. I could go on a treadmill. I could eat less. No, I'm gonna go under the knife and cheat. So, I mean, do I feel? Yeah, I feel a little for the kids because you don't. I know how it is to. Not that I know, but I understand how kids near their mother and both of their father in their lives. So that's something that's sad to that. Yo, do I feel sorry for her? I don't think so. Yo, you decided to go under the knife. You are better off than 80% of the population. Your man works in the entertainment industry. You make that money. You could get a trainer. I don't get this. And again, for that question to be aimed at like, oh, we need to stop. I'm not telling them nothing. We need to. That's the same. So they're babies now. We got to tell them. Oh no, don't do that. We told women not to wear weave. They don't care. Don't wear those fake eyelashes. You're not my father. Don't do this. So I'm telling you, these women are married to you're the side. You're the side dude. The side dude doesn't say anything. He come get his PC and keep it moving. And it sounds harsh to say, but like this young lady right there, like I don't understand how many. And she died in America. She didn't even go like to the Dominican Republic or to these other countries that people have been. Just like remember, Goku, we were talking about the black lady who got those two goofies to go with her to Mexico,
right?
And they ended up somewhere they were not supposed to be and got killed. A goofy surgery, quote unquote, so they said. But nobody see that question. Nobody was put that question like that for her, because a lot of men would like to simp for this kind of shit. So that's just I don't understand. Like, what's more important? In this society, we are so caught up in the flesh. Work on your individual. Work on your personality. Work on your spirituality. But then again, look at those people who. And did you guys see him at the funeral? It was one of the weirdest eulogies I've ever seen. But it is what it is, man.
No, vanity is something that it killed this woman. Vanity, nothing but vanity. And I agree with her really 100%, because this same lady, she probably spent $50,000 to $100,000 on all that cosmetic stuff. Man, you could get a $1,000 elliptical machine. You could get a $500 to $1,000 workout set. You know what I mean? You got out one of your rooms and you put that shit inside there. Every day you work on something. You know what I mean? Or you could hire one of them is gym monkeys. You know what I mean? Hire them for like $5,000. Give them a $5,000. Have them work out with you or whatever. And she could have easily. She was lazy. Laziness and vanity killed this woman. Laziness and vanity. She wanted the shortcut, and she could have do it the hard way. After 6 months, she would have done the work and still get the body she was looking for. No, she wanted a shortcut, and this is the end result. So I can't really feel too bad for what happened. I don't like the fact that this young mother lost her life. She's 32 years old. She's a young woman. But regardless of the fact that she's lazy and vanity killer. Vanity killer. But I'll leave it.
All right. Does anyone have any last thoughts here?
Well, I meant to say two things, right? Well, actually three things. One, first off, for guys, get with the women you find attractive. Don't get with women whose body types you do not like, right? But number two, I'm pretty sure this woman has been plastic. Okay, so obviously DC Young Fly didn't wife her, right? He just messed with her raw. But here's the thing. He was probably attracted to her because of the plastic, not because she was working out and had a good body. It's because she went under the knife, right? That said, reminds me of Zion and Mariah Millis. This woman has been plastic before Zion hit 16. Okay? Zion goes after this woman not because she has this good, she has this good figure that she works out and she's, active and so on and so forth. He went for her because she was plastic. And then if she has to she got with Zion because she's plastic. Right? That said, it doesn't even make sense to hold a guy accountable, right? If the reason why these guys are going after these women is because they're plastic. Now, I don't mess with no plastic women, but there's a lot of guys who want plastic women. And so you're not like the guys are not even in a position to even tell the woman, hey, you know what? Why don't you go natural? Because it wouldn't make any sense. If you wanted a natural woman, you should have went for a natural woman. So this woman is just doing what she kept doing. She kept playing with fire, and she got burned. End of story.
All right.
I don't think she was plastic prior. But she did something. She said she had a whole video that they said that she said she was against it, and then she switched her mind or whatever it is. But to say this is that I don't think men care about plastic. The problem is men don't have enough say. Yo, if a woman is plastic, don't mess with her. But men, because of the way we're wired, will override that. Be like, you know what? Let me just the end justify the means justify the end or whatever it is. But yeah, I'm not trying to stick up for her or anything, but they said that she was not plastic prior. It was this, and then the thing.
What's her name? I don't even know her name. What's her name?
Jackie O, something like that. They said her name is Jackie O, something like that. But they said she wasn't plastic. She was a regular person, and she's a biracial person. And she said after the thing, she wanted a mommy makeover all of a sudden, and went and did it. So
that's on her. It's like so you saying she was always physically active, and then she decided to cheat, and she died.
I don't know if she was physically active. What I'm saying, she was.
What I mean is she wasn't fat before.
No, she wasn't fat. She was
exactly. So she was in shape before, but she decided I'm gonna get plastic surgery to improve my shape, and then she died from that.
Because
so that's a FAFO.
Because
that's a fuck around and find out. You know how to lose weight. You know how to keep a good shape. You know how to get a shape so that you could land on because you gotta understand the women who were on that show. You know, although they were all sport all over the spectrum, this was a very highly curated list of women in the sense of you couldn't just get up on that show, right? It was like not like America's Next Top Model, but it was like you had to have a certain shape. So you're saying that she got on that naturally, and and then at 32 she decides to be a dumbass and get a surgery and die. That's on her. Like you can't make stupid, like you can't jump from an airplane and be like, you know what, I forgot my parachute, and then people go and cry over you. No, you dumbass, check your parachute.
Yeah, she wasn't wilding out without that. Not that I watched the show, but I don't know. I just feel like I don't know what the brother had because DC Young Fly said he was against plastic, all of that surgery. And the thing I want to say is that it is understandable. I think Carl said it that after 3 kids, you're not gonna look the same that you was as we met you. It is extendable. If we met you at 120 and you go up to 150 or 160, I don't think most black men will be devastated about that. It's when you start going to the 200 and ballooning up that we have to think. A lot of these women, I want a mommy makeover. What? You're not gonna be back to the way you was. You had 3 kids, and it's understandable. But I don't know. Like I said, they're not listening to us. They are married to the state. And that means they are married to the propaganda machine. They are married to the entertainment industry. So even if, I don't know what DC Young Fly even said anything, but we see it even in around our around our way, that the women now are getting plastic surgery, and you can't tell them nothing. So I don't know, man.
Y'all brothers is harsh, man. Y'all brothers is hardcore.
She's a goofy, bro. She
I don't believe she deserved to die. I believe she was foolish, but from a human standpoint, I don't believe she deserved to die. I think that had she loved herself a little bit more, it's a tragic situation. So I don't believe she deserved to die, but it is a tragedy, and I look at it as a tragedy, and it just shows how propaganda, how media affects people's self-esteem. How you take a steady diet of that stuff. She was a wreck. I think she was an attractive woman. You know, she was in a long-term relationship with dude. I mean, it is what it is. So,
but see, I want to say this though.
I'm gonna be.
Are you good? All right, I want to say this though. So, what about the submarine? Right? It's nobody saying that the guys at the bottom of the Titanic deserve to die, but ain't nobody. But most people are saying you fuck around and you find out. Like, what are you going to the bottom of the fucking ocean, right, to go look at a ship from 100 years ago? That's what it's about. It's like sometimes you just go out of your way to do something stupid. You go out of your way to play with your life. If you go out of your way to play with your life and you die, nobody gives a shit, because most of us have the good sense to not go out of our way to things like those guys doing parkour on a roof. It's cool and all, but when you fall, nobody's like, "Oh, you didn't deserve to die." Well, motherfucker, you shouldn't have been jumping from building to building. You know what I'm saying? You should have thought you was Batman. You know what I'm saying? Like, come on. That's the thing. It's like this woman, she had things going for her. She had 3 fucking kids. Like, when you have kids, you're supposed to say to yourself, "Hey, look, let me not take too many extra risks." Now, obviously, you could take some risks. Like, for instance, I might go to the bar at night, and it's like, hey, somebody shoots me at the bar, what's gonna happen to my kid? Who knows, right? But it's like, that's not an unnecessary risk. What's an unnecessary risk is you going under, like, taking a fucking surgery, an intense surgery, and you 120 pounds soaking wet. Like, come on. You're gonna fucking die. You know? You jumping from building to building, you're gonna die. Sorry.
I ain't saying she deserved it. I'm saying she deserved whatever came with it. It just happened to be death. You can't ask for no. That's like somebody saying, because you watch social media, you watch people jumping off bridges of social media, you want to go do it, and you die. It's a tragedy. That ain't no tragedy. She's a goofy. If you mentally weak enough to be affected by what people is posting on social media, to the fact that you gonna go under the knife unnecessarily when you could possibly die, it's on you, bro. People got to stop being so soft, bro.
And bro, not to say, they said statistics prove that the mummy makeover surgery and all those BBL have the most death rate. They said, and I'm telling you, the doctor probably told her all of that. That's one of the most deadliest surgery that to have is the mummy makeover. And they said the fat, like when you remove the fat and put it and it gets into your veins, into your I don't know if it's the vein or your artery, and then it could clog, and then you could have a adverse reaction. So they tell these women that the death. Sorry, go ahead, bro. Go ahead.
No, wait, what is even a mommy makeover? Can y'all explain that? Like, what is that?
Mommy makeover is they lift your breasts up, they do liposuction, and they put the fat transfer in your butt. I think that's what it is. So it's 3 surgeries in one to do.
It should be a dumbass makeover.
So that's what I'm saying. So at the end of the day, like Boana said, and you get a gym set, you pay for a trainer could be $50, between $50 to $100 an hour.
And mind you, she's rich.
That's what I'm saying. And these days, you don't even need that. Go on YouTube, follow a trainer, do that in the third. And all you have to do, technically, the lady was not even overweight. You'll walk, take swimming lessons, all of these things. But it's the whole, like, there's something, again, and who benefit from that? The medical industry. $50,000, people getting paid, the doctor getting paid, the people that administer the whatever
Anesthesia.
the anesthesia get paid, and then now you're dead. But you know who's gonna get paid? The morgue is gonna get paid, the cemetery is gonna get paid, and you just left 3 kids.
I'm sorry, bro. It's a lot of people that's just in the way. I gotta keep it 100.
I get what you're saying, and then the sad thing is the way this person posed this question. A lot of people, you know what they say when you have this? Oh, it's the man's fault if they wasn't putting all this pressure on the what? If your man is putting that much pressure on you after you gave him 3 kids, maybe you got with the wrong man. And we're not saying that as a man, if my wife had 3 kids and then she was overweight, I'm not telling her not to get back in shape, but I'm not putting no pressure on her to look like she was 20 or go under the knife. For what? This is terrible, man. This is terrible. And like, I'm not saying what happened to her. I'm more worried about the children. because I know the effect of losing a parent on 3 little kids. I know they're not gonna understand it, but it's still heartbreaking. But for her, if she was single, if she had no kids, I would be like, yo, fuck her. 100%. I would have been like, I don't give a fuck. Why are we talking about that broad? But I know that she has the 3 kids, and I know that's affecting the next generation. You did something to affect the next generation because of your vanity. And these women nowadays, not just women, a lot of people, this internet drug hit. Oh, liking the likes that they get on their pictures. This is a what is it? Pandemic or epidemic that's destroying whatever, man. That's just crazy, man.
All right. Well, if there's no last thoughts here, that's the end of the show tonight. I want to thank all the panelists who came through. Brother Bakari was here earlier. Thank, of course, to Oye for coming through, to Zuliism, Carl, Buana, and Oni. Oni, you want to shout anything out this week?
Nah, everything's gravy. Good. Shout out to all of y'all. Make sure you check out everything else on the network. I'm gonna keep reading. What book am I reading? I'm gonna read some book. It's gonna be good. So you guys check it out. I'll be there tomorrow. That's it.
All right. Thank you for that. Oni, thanks for coming through. Oye, this is your first time here. You want to shout anything out?
No, I just appreciate you for allowing me to come on the platform. I enjoyed it. I'm a frequent it, subscribe and like every time. I enjoy conversing with you brothers, and y'all have a great night.
Same to you, man. Thanks for coming through. We look forward to seeing you again next week. Arzulius, you want to shout anything out?
Always a great conversation, and hey, I like the diverse opinions that goes to the story and to the show, and yeah, man, that's it, man. Great show.
Thanks for coming through, Zuli. Shout out to Bakari. Carl, you want to shout anything out this week? I guess Carl stepped away. Buana, you want to shout something out this week?
Carl's lusting over Jackie O right now. He's like, yeah.
Hey, shout out to everyone who contributed tonight. Great show. You know, Arzuli, I give my condolences. One of your snow bunnies passed.
Yo.
Snow bunny ain't going.
Yo,
what is Zuli? What is Zuli snow bunnies fast? What is European Nubian Queens fast? And I know he's very hurt about it. So my condolences to Zuli. But shout out to everyone, man. I had a good time tonight.
Thank you for coming through, Buana. So yeah, again, that's the show. I'll be back here next week with y'all. 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Share the show with your folks. Have discussions. Join the Discord to have further discussions. Until next week, I guess. You guys be good. I'll see y'all. Peace.
Thanks for listening to the Bitter Medicine Podcast with your host, Koku. If you like what you just heard, we hope you pass along our web address, bittermedicineblogs.com, to your friends and colleagues, and share our show to all your social media. Be sure to check out our archive section on our website for previous podcasts. This has been a KWAZ radio production. Join us next time for another session of the Bitter Medicine Podcast. Follow us on Facebook at Bitter Medicine Show, Twitter, Bitter Meds, Tumblr, Bitter Meds, Instagram, Bitter Medicine.